Even westbound 78 Highway, that was opposite direction of rush hour, so I never really saw any slowdowns, but that's up and out, so that's good news. I mentioned earlier some fog. It looks like it's, boy, in just the last 10, 15 minutes, it's burned off on 44 coming in through Highway 50. Looks better there. We have good runs going on 55 up through Bayless, downtown. Westbound across the Poplar Mutual Veterans Bridges were in good shape. 5570, of course, remains shut down through 159 westbound, and of course there is the restriction coming down from 70 to 162 as well. But right now, southbound 55, westbound 270 on to 255. Everything is in great shape for you there as well. So it looks like we have a pretty easygoing start to our Wednesday morning. Next update at 6:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump says he's cut a tariff deal with Japan.
It's a great deal. A lot different from the deals in the past, I can tell you that.
The agreement lowers a proposed 25% tariff set to take effect August 1st to 15%. The president says Japan will open its country to American cars, trucks, and rice, plus invest $550 billion here. As for a tariff agreement with China, CBS's Kelly O'Grady says it's a slower go.
There's so much back and forth here. Yes, there is that August 12th deadline, but there's so many complexities to be worked out when it comes to chips, to the tariff rate. And we also know even when you have a framework of a deal, things tend to change very quickly. It took over a couple of years last time to get a deal done.
Lawmakers in the House have gone home for a one-month summer break without resolving a bipartisan push to force a vote on releasing more files in late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's case. Correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns from Capitol Hill.
What happened here, I think, really paints the picture of a Republican Party divided on this, and then Democrats trying to exploit that division. At the beginning of the week, the House says these are the bills we want to vote on. They have to go through the Rules Committee. Democrats on the Rules Committee say, not until we get a vote on Epstein. Republicans don't even want to have that vote in the Rules Committee, so Johnson shuts it down.
Prosecutors in New York City said they arrested a Long Island man planning to set off homemade bombs. CBS's Anna Schechter.
He stored at least 5 of them and shotgun shells on adjoining rooftops of residential apartment buildings in Lower Manhattan.
The Trump administration has paused student loan forgiveness.
The Education Department quietly stopped income-based repayment plans, one of 4 repayment options the federal government offers. It allows borrowers to get their balances erased after 20 to 25 years of payments. In a statement, the department says IBR forgiveness is paused while its systems are updated and will resume once those upgrades are completed. It didn't say when that might be. IBRs are the only government repayment plans that haven't been at least partially paused by court challenges. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
They're mourning the grandfather of heavy metal in the UK.
Some of the fans laying flowers for Ozzy Osbourne in his native Birmingham, England, were at Black Sabbath's last gig July 5th, also in Birmingham, where it all began.
He wanted to be back home, didn't he? Wanted to come back home, I think. And he's left a legacy.
Even the Birmingham Police Force has paid tribute, saying it's named a police dog puppy after Ozzy and hoping he grows up to be a legend like his namesake. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
Ozzy died yesterday at the age of 76. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
It is 6:03 and it is really hot and humid out there. It's 78 degrees in downtown St. Louis. The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The Missouri Supreme Court rules counties cannot stack a marijuana sales tax on top of a city's. What does this mean for St. Louis County?
Early projections from St. Louis County says that they could lose about $3 million a year out of the $4.5 million they collect on the marijuana tax revenue. I spoke with Councilwoman Rita Hurd Days, who's also concerned they might have to give this money back.
If we have accepted a tax and taken it in and it was not ruled appropriate that we do that some kind of restitution has to be made.
Councilwoman Hurd Days is also concerned that this could just add to the challenge they've had of trying to balance the budget, which currently sits at a $55 million deficit. In St. Louis County, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Now, what would you say if somebody said, It's not fair to double tax.
It's not fair to double tax. That's what we do every day.
St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman says you pay double taxes on groceries, for instance. And speaking of taxes, he usually doesn't like them.
I was in a strange situation with this thing. It's the first time in my career I've actually defended a tax.
But he says the challenge to this one appears to be over.
Well, I think it's probably the end of the line.
Ellman says the county's already collected about $2 million from the cannabis tax and has it set aside. He thinks consumers might be entitled to refunds, but did they keep their receipts?
Of course, when you do that, you'll have to admit how much marijuana you've been smoking in the last year.
Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The trial for former St. Louis Oversight Board member Janice Mensah begins today. Mensah had entered the jail in August 2023 and sat in the waiting room hoping to gain access inside as a member of the Detention Facility Oversight Board. This was after a hostage situation and a detainee death. Instead, Mensah was arrested and charged with trespassing and resisting arrest. Mensah, despite the low-level charges, is nervous.
I'm scared. I'm distraught, but I am also grateful that I have the support of, hundreds of community members.
Mensah is hopeful the jail's then commissioner, Jennifer Clemens Abdullah, will testify. Clemens Abdullah frequently butted heads with the oversight board and instructed staff to call the police on Mensah.
Hoping to beat the current contract expiration date, Boeing has made a final offer to their St. Louis union employees. The vice president of air dominance for Boeing, Dan Gillian, says it was a tough negotiation, but is happy with how the union approached it.
They were very transparent up front about those 5 issues. They were very consistent with what their members wanted, and we worked together to find solutions to those problems.
He says this offer addresses all 5 concerns the union raised and is the best in Boeing's history. The union will vote on the contract on Sunday, the day the current deal expires.
If you buy a property in a tax sale, you don't have to pay the unpaid sewer bill tied to that place. That's according to an appeals court ruling in favor of Tabernacle Community Development, which bought a property in North City in 2022 in a tax sale, only to find out that MSD had a lien on the property. The ability to wipe away those unpaid sewer bills is seen as a good thing because they were hindering redevelopment in blighted neighborhoods. Sometimes the sewer bills exceeded the value of the property.
A traveling wall honoring veterans of the Vietnam War has arrived in St. Louis.
The wall that heals was escorted by motorcycles to Jefferson Barracks, where volunteers will be putting it together today.
The wall that heals is a 3/4 scale replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. It's coming to us from the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund, and they are the keepers and creators of the wall.
Quinn Hinman is the Historic and Sites Manager for St. Louis County Parks and Rec, says Jefferson Barracks is the perfect setting for the wall.
So I think a lot of people in the St. Louis community associate Jefferson Barracks with the cemetery. And so I think it goes without saying that many of the names that are on the memorial, their final resting place is at the cemetery in Jefferson Barracks.
At Jefferson Barracks, Thursday through Sunday, the wall that heals will be on display for 24 hours a day. Opening ceremony starts at 10 a.m. Thursday. Guided tours will be available. Taps will be featured each night at sunset, and Friday night there will be a special candlelight ceremony. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Missouri is using drones with thermal imaging to help find feral hogs and kill them. Missouri Department of Conservation Director Jason Sumner says so far this year, the state has killed more than 3,100 feral hogs.
Since 2016, Feral Hog Elimination Partnership has reduced the acreage occupied by feral hogs in Missouri by about 9.5 million acres, or 84% of the predicted distribution.
The department says a social group of 10 hogs can destroy 10 to 20 acres of Missouri land overnight, including farm crops.
It's 6:08, traffic and weather next.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are discussing immunotherapy and how an innovative immunotherapy is showing promise against aggressive T-cell cancers. Joining us is Dr. John DiPersio, WashU Medicine bone marrow transplant specialist with Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. DiPersio, it's great to have you on KMOX.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
Your international immunotherapy clinical trial at WashU Medicine. Could you tell us about that?
Instead of using one patient's T cells to treat their own lymphoma, costing $1 million, in this situation, you can use a donor's T cells to treat multiple patients. So it changes both an approach to these diseases, but also the economics of these complicated and expensive immunotherapies.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 6:10 and time for us to get you updated on traffic and weather. The weather is very steamy and, frankly, dangerous. So take it easy if you are planning to be spending a lot of time outdoors the next couple of days. We'll get to that in just a second. But first, here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, Debbie, the fog I was seeing has burned off at least 44 at Highway 50 out in Franklin County. So some of it's going to burn off, but it doesn't mean that it's not humid and it's not going to be hot. So that's no indicator of a better day ahead, unfortunately, as far as the weather goes. As far as traffic goes, yeah, we're in good shape. We just have a little slowdown right now, northbound 67 at Highway Double C. Once you get onto 55 through McNutt, north of Bayless, there are no issues. 270 around Ladue looks fine. They just cleared a stall out of the roadway. South 270 at Page, I don't see any issues there. Downtown, we're still good to go. Westbound across the Poplar and Musial Veterans Bridges, and no delays on that detour route. Westbound 270 to southbound 255 as of yet. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We still have an extreme heat warning through 7 p.m. tomorrow with AccuWeather the real field temperatures headed past 110 the next couple of afternoons. Sunshine and some clouds, very hot and oppressively humid this afternoon, the high 98. Mainly clear, uncomfortably warm and sticky tonight, though 79. Tomorrow, sunny to partly cloudy, very hot and steamy, the high near 100. Friday, partly sunny, hot and humid with a chance of a thunderstorm, especially in the afternoon, high 95. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, it's 78 in Florissant, 78 in St. Peters, and we have a clear sky and 78 downtown at the Arch. Weather sponsored by Blindster.com. Blindster.com sells custom blind shades and shutters at low prices. Their blinds are handcrafted to fit your windows, and if they don't, for any reason, they'll remake them for free. Your satisfaction is always guaranteed at Blindster.com.
Charges have been filed after a driver rammed his car into a crowd outside a Los Angeles nightclub.
Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman announced charges against 29-year-old Fernando Ramirez on Tuesday in what's alleged to be a deliberate car crash over the weekend that hurt 37 people.
37 counts of attempted murder and 37 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, the deadly weapon being the car.
Ramirez was later found to have been shot in the lower back.
He is accused of intentionally driving his car onto the sidewalk near the Vermont Hollywood, a popular venue.
LA Police Chief Jim McDonnell.
It is truly a miracle that nobody was killed that night.
The suspect has a criminal history, including an aggravated battery conviction in 2019, and records show he had domestic violence and drunken driving cases pending. Audio courtesy ABC 7 Los Angeles. I'm Jennifer King.
Missouri Task Force 1 has been demobilized and is heading home. Nearly 90 members of the state's top search and rescue team spent nearly 2 weeks in Central Texas responding to massive flash flooding that's left at least 135 people dead. Task Force spokesman Gail Blomenkamp tells Missouri Net they found no survivors once they deployed.
No, so the last known live rescue from that event actually occurred on July 4th on that Friday. We were activated on Monday the 7th. So there were no live rescues after July 4th, unfortunately, down in Texas.
85 members of Missouri Task Force 1 are expected to arrive back in mid-Missouri's Columbia sometime Wednesday today. 4 other members are still deployed in Texas, finishing up some work with the incident support team and will be demobilized later.
Come this fall, Coca-Cola will offer customers a new soda option, Coke made with U.S. cane sugar.
This new Coke alternative will not replace Coke products already made with high fructose corn syrup. It will simply be another choice alongside all the others. So which is better for you, cane sugar or high fructose corn syrup? SLU Care General Internist Dr. Fred Buchhold at SSML St. Louis University Hospital.
The difference is I don't think it's really that much to really save humanity.
Either way, Dr. Buchhold says he calls soda diabetes in a can. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
There's been a transgender rule change in U.S. Olympic women's sports.
The U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee has barred transgender women from competing in women's sports. The committee is citing an executive order from President Donald Trump. The order, signed in February, threatens to cut funding for organizations allowing transgender athletes in women's sports. The policy is listed under the USOPC Athlete Safety Policy and follows a similar move by the NCAA earlier this year. National governing bodies for various sports like swimming and track and field are expected to comply with the directive. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Let's go to the Gas House Gang from KMOX, and this is Ollie Marmol, the Cardinals manager, speaking with us.
I mean, I don't have to share the gory details. You're sitting in the dugout every night, but your starting rotation is been getting beat up pretty good now for a couple months, and all the stats and facts bear that out. Is there any hope to revive this group, given the lack of swing and miss and punch out stuff? How do you get them back on track if indeed it's possible in a major way?
Yeah, I think we benefited from Babbitt being in our favor early. You've talked about that enough. Just ball and play went. It was favorable, and we're seeing now. You look at, and that's just baseball. You look at Sonny, man. Out of the 15 balls in play, 11 fell for hits, and that's just unusual. But if that's happening to him, you think about ball and play on Michaelis and Fetty and Palante, and it's not something there's a remedy for in the immediate future. I mean, we're continuing to run these guys out there and game plan the way we have. I'm not just saying this, man. I give Dusty, Hooley, and that whole group with Keek a ton of credit for the amount of time and effort and attention to detail that they put into game planning, because when you don't have swing and miss stuff, man, there's a lot of layers to how to get outs, and they've done a good job of that. But at the end of the day, we're going to throw these guys out there, and they're going to have to do a good job to give us a shot. That's just the bottom line.
As rough as it was in Arizona for those three, I have to say the offense, I was surprised. I thought that the offense, after some rest and after a break and going into Arizona, would be able to do something. How do you explain what happened to the offense as well against the Diamondbacks?
They got shut out. Bottom line. I mean, there's no excuse. They just didn't hit. I didn't like the way we executed the game plan. Some guys were having trouble picking up the sweeper early in those games. But at the end of the day, man, the opposing group had the same amount of rest, came out and waxed us. That's just what took place. And we didn't execute at a high level. We had some opportunities and didn't capitalize on them. And at the end of the day, in my opinion, we just didn't create enough opportunities either. We've done a nice job of 1 through 9 having a good game plan against opposing pitchers. I feel like that series was probably one of the worst at executing our game plan.
Yeah, can I throw something in there? Ali, as you know, I don't hesitate to say stuff. I've been around too long to kind of hold my words.
Tell me about
I know,
it.
right? I know. I was, I think I spoke for a lot of people. It was just a bad series. And the one thing I said that surprised me, that the team didn't seem to have a lack of urgency. I was expecting like all this energy. And I know they got deflated early because of, putting up crooked numbers the other side. But I said, listen, again, I'm not trying to run away from what I said. So I'm just going to tell you, and I'm not trying to antagonize you, but I just want to be straight up with you. I said, it looked like they just quit in those games. And I never thought I'd say that because your team, I'm so used to your team fighting. It just looked like a team that was resigned to losing and kind of packed it in.
No, I just think we got our ass handed to us early, and it was hard to come back. When you look at some of the defensive plays and the way guys were still going about, the attention to detail was there. When you quit, there's a difference between being flat and quitting and just getting beat. We got beat, and when you look at the at bats and guys are still getting after it, they're just failing. Okay, like there's a difference there. If you think Nato or Contreras or Mason or one of these guys are quitting, I'd love for you to have that conversation with them. I'd love for you to tell Donovan that he's quitting on the club. I love
the Inside Pitch, sponsored by Seidman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. Cardinals lost last night, back at it today at 2:10.
Calling all soccer fans, the Premier League is coming to STL. St. Louis City SC will host English Premier League giants Aston Villa Football Club Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. Wednesday, July 30th at 7:30 p.m. That's stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:21. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, and I'm here with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And everything's still in great shape out there, Debbie, this morning. If you're traveling in on the Illinois side, this traffic reports the service of Anderson Hospital. We do have some heavy traffic. The only place I'm seeing the delays right now on the Illinois side, and that's on westbound 270. A little bit of a heavy stretch running in from 159 as you approach 159, about midway into 157. So just be careful if you're headed that direction, because you don't expect to see problems this time of day, but there are delays there now. So that's where we wanted to start with that little aside. But like I said, otherwise, it's a good Wednesday morning for you. It looks great on southbound 61 coming down onto 64-70 coming out of Wentzville, northbound 55 at McNutt and north of Bayless looks good. North 270 from 55 up to Gravois and around Ladue both ways. Everything is on the go for you there as well. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Serving the Metro East region with excellence, Anderson Hospital is proud to be named one of Newsweek's World's Best Hospitals for 2025. Experience world-class care close to home. AndersonHospital.org.
Extreme heat warning in effect through 7 p.m. tomorrow. Real feel temperatures over 110, high 98 today, low 79 tonight, high 100 tomorrow with humidity. Currently, it's 79 downtown.
The news continues at 6:22. President Trump is starting to land some new trade deals ahead of his August 1st deadline. Speaking at a White House reception for congressional Republicans, he announced this.
I just signed the largest trade deal in history. I think maybe the largest deal in history with Japan. And that was done with Japan. They had their top people here, and we worked on it long and hard, and it's a great deal for everybody.
I'm Vicky Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Fresh on the heels of the U.S. trade deals with Japan and the Philippines, China now says it always advocates for trade talks over trade war. U.S. and Chinese officials will meet in Stockholm next week to discuss extending the August 1st deadline for negotiating a deal. Without it, the U.S. could impose 145% tariffs on Chinese goods coming into the U.S. China would charge 125% on U.S.-made goods.
There are growing questions and concerns around the conditions inside of a number of immigration holding facilities. CBS's Jared Hill.
men seen sleeping on the floor on thin blankets, sharing a single toilet. Video released by the New York Immigration Coalition is giving a first-hand look at conditions inside a holding cell at the city's federal immigration offices.
He did not deserve any of this.
Samara Dela Cruz Gooden says her husband, John Paul Alcivar, was there for several days last month, detained by ICE at his asylum hearing, something attorneys and advocates say has happened before under the Trump administration.
Why are you detaining them when they are following the process?
Samara said her husband was fed just a sandwich and a bottle of water a day before being sent to a detention center in Louisiana.
He was just saying they don't give him enough food.
The Department of Homeland Security has disputed concerns about their facilities. In Florida, crowds demanded the detention center in the Everglades be shut down and for it to not be referred to as Alligator Alcatraz.
Is this a joke? No. To mock the very real suffering of migrants, to stir up fear, and to turn human rights violations into campaign slogans.
A new CBS poll shows a growing number of Americans disapprove of the White House's handling of immigration.
New York's Columbia University is cracking down on dozens of pro-Palestinian students who took part in recent campus protests.
At least 70 students involved in last year's tent encampment or this past spring's takeover of a campus library were either suspended for at least 2 years or expelled. Alan Levin is a doctoral candidate at Columbia.
This is a good first step. There's a lot more to do.
But 2020 grad Nas Issa thinks the expulsions and suspensions are too harsh.
Are more interested in protecting their endowment, their donors, their investments than they are in, standing by their students and faculty.
Columbia says to create a thriving academic community, there must be respect for each other. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The Trump administration has paused its student loan forgiveness program. The Education Department quietly stopped income-based repayment or IBR plans. That's one of 4 repayment options the federal government offers. It allows borrowers to get their balances erased after 20 to 25 years of payments.
It is 6:26, and the time check is sponsored for you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Seems like back to school happens earlier each year.
First day of school coming in hot.
And this year, my kids had massive supply lists.
Folders, notebooks, and pens. Oh, the humanity.
But Staples had everything I needed, with some items just 25 cents.
Watch the small print.
No. My back to school budget was saved by Staples Easy Button.
Everything for school, in stock and as low as 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app. In 23 while supplies last.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
How many of you think taxes are going to go up in the future? And if they do, who will be hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, August 26th or Thursday, August 28th at Fleming's. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit CantorInjuryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Soccer fans, St. Louis City SC hosts English Premier League giants, the Aston Villa Football Club, Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
11:20 a.m., 104.1 FM, and streaming on the Odyssey app. KMOX is with you, however you listen, wherever you listen.
At 6:30, we've hit 80 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're heading out the door and onto the roadways right now, Debbie, it's getting a little busier, but it's not terrible. The only place we have delays is on westbound 270, more volume. Actually, South 55 getting onto westbound 270. You're bogged down there right at the Three Eyes, and it goes midway in between 159 and 157. Certainly busier running through there right now. On the Missouri side, well, there's a little slow down northbound 67 at Double C, but once you hit 55 through McNutt and north of Bayless, it's still good to go. North 270 from 55 through Gravois all the way up past 64 through the work zone at Ladue, both ways still on the move. Southbound 61, eastbound 64 and 70 out of the Wentzville area, good to go across the Missouri bridges, and downtown across the Poplar and Mutual Veterans bridges. Things are continuing to roll along as well. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hot and humid. Today it's going to be a heat warning in effect actually through 7 o'clock tomorrow night, with real feel temperatures over 110 the next two afternoons. High 98 today, low 79 tonight, high 100 tomorrow. It's 79 right now.
If there are beneficiaries and multiple, it will be split amongst them.
Co-founder of Just Moms STL, Dawn Chapman, speaking with KMOX about the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act money and what people who became ill or who have lost loved ones because of nuclear contamination can do.
Beneficiaries receive $25,000 for a deceased loved one. But if there is more than one beneficiary to a family, then the money must be split. And if you are currently ill,
if you are somebody that needs that $50,000 and you choose that will then, if you qualify, be direct deposited into your account.
Chapman says the Department of Justice will then talk with people currently ill from radiation contamination, as well as the beneficiaries. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
This Thursday night from 6 to 8, there'll be an informational meeting at the James Egan Gymnasium.
Congressman Mike Bost hears from his constituents.
For the most part, the telephone town hall stuck to the issues, though some wonder why Bost doesn't hold an in-person meeting to see voters in his district face-to-face, but in the phone meeting.
This is an important issue for me, as I know it is for my constituents.
Bost defended the strike on Iran.
This is what is meant when we say peace through strength.
And changes to Medicaid and the president's big bill.
Trust me, I know how much rural health service means to Southern Illinois.
One caller asked him about the VA Medical Center in Marion.
Seems like I know people losing jobs and I know people losing benefits.
Okay, first off, no one has lost. I think there was one person that has lost their job at the VA because we kind of monitor that.
He says he's been told that any job cuts in the Veterans Affairs Administration would come from attrition. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com at 6:33.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
At 6:34, your money report is sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
Good morning. The federal agency in charge of the nation's nuclear weapons is reportedly among the institutions and organizations that have been infiltrated by hackers exploiting a flaw in the Microsoft SharePoint program. A source says it's not believed any sensitive or classified information has been compromised. Microsoft engineers are still working on patches that will completely close the door on the cyber criminals. Fresh off a round of layoffs, Microsoft is offering some remaining salespeople extra pay. In documents seen by Bloomberg, additional pay for the fiscal year that just ended will go to workers whose annual payout was affected by systemic challenges or financial performance outcomes outside of their control. These bonuses could boost morale at the world's largest software company. Microsoft has terminated about 15,000 people in 2 rounds of major layoffs in recent months. And if you're a fan of Hershey chocolate, get ready to pay more. The company says it can't absorb sky-high cocoa prices, so it's raising its prices to pass some of the extra cost along to customers. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
A little earlier, I told you about Overhead Door Company of St. Louis and their $5,000 sweepstakes. Just go to overheaddoorstlouis.com, overheaddoorstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter. That's one of the things they're doing this month. The other one is Cash for Clunkers. That one expires on July 31st. It's Overhead Door Company of St. Louis paying cash for your old garage doors. They'll haul away your old garage door and give you instant credit towards the new insulated door. How about $200 for the first garage door? $100 for each additional door. You can cash in your old entry doors as well. It's Cash for Clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. If you'd like to take a look at new garage doors, they would do convenient, free in-home estimates with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, overheaddoorsstlouis.com. The ones with the red ribbon, the ones that are hiring, by the way, technicians, they're the best because they've been around for almost 100 years, and they invented the overhead garage door. 1926 for the old red ribbon. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, 314-781-5200. The genuine, the original.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health. But you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM. Visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis and St. Charles families have trusted Suntrup Buick GMC. As a proud family-owned dealership, we offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Buick GMC, you'll always find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and every vehicle comes with our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in store or online at suntrupbuickgmc.com. Save more at Suntrup Buick GMC.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast.
Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
And let me tell you, yesterday was Ollie's best Gas House Gang he's done so far, in my opinion. He was very, very good. Coming up at 6:45, his thoughts on the trade deadline, his relationship with Chaim Bloom. You don't hear as much about the man who's replacing John Mozeliak. Ollie lays it out for us at 6:45.
He promised 90 deals in 90 days. Now President Trump is finally starting to land some new trade deals ahead of his August 1st deadline.
During a meeting on trade with the president of the Philippines, which resulted in a deal of 19% tariffs on imports from that country.
It's a great deal for everybody.
Later, another trade deal with Japan, lowering a proposed 25% tariff to 15%.
CBS News correspondent Jared Hill reporting President Trump says as part of that deal, Japan will also invest $550 billion into the U.S. Japan was America's fifth largest trading partner last year, with massive imports of cars, electronics, and chemicals.
House Speaker Mike Johnson is ending the August recess early, preventing a vote that would have forced the Justice Department to release files on the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This decision by Speaker Johnson, supported by President Trump, stops a bipartisan effort that had gathered support from at least 10 Republicans. Lawmakers pursuing more information on Epstein's underage sex trafficking ring plan to resume their efforts in September. Separately, the House Oversight and Government Reform Subcommittee voted yesterday to subpoena Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's right-hand woman.
Time to get you updated on your ride in and the weather. You might not want to hear this forecast. It's pretty steamy, but it's important if you're going to spend any time outdoors. Let's get you updated on the traffic situation with Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, most of the highways are still doing pretty well, Debbie. This traffic reports the service at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The one big exception is going to be on the Illinois side, the detour route for the closure of westbound 5570 at 159. Southbound 55 is bogged down about midway down from 143 to 270, and westbound 270 from that 5570 interchange in Troy through 159, midway into 157, just slow going the whole way through, so very busy on the Illinois side there. Now, other than that, on the Illinois side downtown, we look great on 64 and 5570 headed across the Poplar and Musial Veterans Bridges. On the Missouri side, the only real delays right now, northbound 55 from north of Bayless up through Holly Hills, a little slow. South 270 approaching 64. It's a little busy running through there as well. Next update at Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
6:41, AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. The heat and humidity yesterday might have been the worst it's been all year. At least felt like it.
It felt like it. The humidity was really high, and that's really what's contributing to the problem right now. And while we've got these extreme heat warning or heat advisories, depending on the location, in effect through tomorrow. And don't be surprised if they get reissued or extended through Friday and through the weekend and probably into the beginning of next week. I think that's how long of a heat wave we're looking at. Sunshine, some clouds, very hot and humid this afternoon. I think any thunderstorm chances staying for Metro East and Points East are high 98. The real feels 110. Tonight, clear, warm, and muggy. Barely getting to 80 or below for an hour or two. Sunshine and some clouds up toward 100 tomorrow. Partly sunny Friday, maybe a thunderstorm, especially in the afternoon. That could trim the heat ever so slightly, the high 95. But the weekend's still going to be very hot and humid with sun and clouds, mid to 90s both days. Real feels between 105 and 110, and there could be a thunderstorm at some point either Saturday or Sunday. Currently 79 at St. Peter's, 80 in Florissant, sunny, and 81 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:42 and the news continues. A terrifying moment for a young surf instructor in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. 18-year-old Sam Hallis was yanked off his board and bitten by a shark while his feet dangled in the water. Hallis told Inside Edition he felt the shark's teeth clamp down on his foot, before he was rushed ashore by beachgoers.
Whether or not I would keep the foot was a major conversation that they were having in the beginning. First, it feels like a lot of pressure, just like on your foot, and then it starts to feel really hot and like really almost like a fire poker kind of like in your foot. My foot was obviously in its mouth, and so I was, kicking at it and with the left foot as well as my right foot, and then I realized I wasn't a fish, so it was like, okay, I'm gone.
Lifeguards are still working to gather more information on the shark. The beach is nicknamed Shark Bite Capital of the World.
Social media and YouTube influencers are changing the way we all get away. Andy Don has that story.
Mark Walters of the Walters World Travel and Culture YouTube channel says the internet scrolling can help many of us choose where to travel next.
I think the inspirational side of the influencers is what's really gotten people much more impacted by the influencer marketing kind of thing, because now you're seeing destinations you never thought about visiting before. And it's like, wow, that food looks fantastic. That site looks fantastic. So they're bringing much more opportunities out there to people in terms of destinations we never thought of.
However, Walter says it's not all likes and favorites.
Sometimes people only focus on that one picture when there's a whole culture to learn about. I think that's one of the places where I think influencers can do a better job.
He also urges scrollers to make sure your favorite travel influencer isn't a paid sponsor for the destination they're raving about.
The godfather of heavy metal has died.
First with Black Sabbath. And then on his own, Ozzy Osbourne was the growling voice of an entire genre.
I'm just Ozzy the rock and roll crazy guy.
Who embodied metal's excess, a heavy drinker and drug user who once bit the head off a live bat on stage. Sabbath threw him out in 1979. Osbourne reinvented himself as a solo artist before reuniting for a tour 12 years ago.
When I'm on the road, I want to be home. When I'm home, I want to be on the road, so I'm never in the right place.
Osbourne announced he had Parkinson's disease in 2020. He died at 76, just weeks after joining Sabbath for a farewell show. I'm Sagar Meghani.
The Gas House Gang on KMOX yesterday, as good as it gets. Ollie Marmol, open, honest, discussing a number of topics. Let's dive into the trade deadline, which is 8 days away.
Listen, I'm an old grouch, so like every year I get tired of the whole buyer and seller thing. And you know what? It starts earlier and earlier. I mean, there's people writing in April like, well, this team's going to be a buyer. It's like, the stuff doesn't go down until like the final week leading into the deadline anyway. But actually, this sets up a question I had on my list for you. The Cardinals are in a lot of discussion, a lot of speculation. Your expiring contract guys, maybe even some others. Mozeliak has even said, hey, teams have a lot of interest in our players. Players don't tune that stuff out. So the guys in the clubhouse, how do they handle that? How do you handle that? Is it a distraction? Is it something that's disruptive?
It can be if you allow it to be. And you just try to stay ahead of it. And our staff does a really nice job of just keeping their ear open to certain conversations that are taking place, comments that are made by players. But during this time of the year, you really do try to have a lot of one-on-one conversations. And then once the trade deadline hits, then you have a team meeting and you address the club with, this is who we are and here's how we're moving forward. But during this time, man, there's a lot of one-on-ones and you're making sure that guys aren't distracted by it. And you're as honest with them as you can be as far as what we know and the direction this could go. But up to this point, I'll say this group is probably the least distracted that I've had over the last several years. And just going out there and taking care of business, and however this plays out, it plays out. But no, our group has actually been really good about it this year.
Ollie, obviously, John Mozeliak is the president of baseball operations until the end of October, but I am curious about your observations of Chaim Bloom, and not to mention the people that are working with him and the interactions that you do have with him. We will eventually be able to talk to him on the record and discuss things about the future of the organization, but what are your impressions of what Chaim has been able to do so far?
It's been really good, man. I've had a decent amount of interaction with him, and it's been positive. I like the way he thinks, the way he kind of communicates with me, the staff. You can just tell the guy cares. He knows the game, but he cares about people. And my interactions have been extremely positive. A lot of it have revolved around the minor league and putting systems in place and the developmental process that is being taken care of there. And some of the people that have been brought in have been exceptional, man. You look at Surf and LD, farm director, Pierpont, and you go down that list, man. They're guys that are making an immediate impact on the org. We're already seeing some of the benefits of it, and it's only going to get better. We have staffed up appropriately. We'll continue to, but the impact they've had up to this point has been positive, and I'm looking forward to what it looks like moving forward, man. I'm not just saying that this is a group that's going to make us better. They're committed, and so far they've interacted with our staff in just a really, really good way at the big league level. So I'm excited about it, man.
That's Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol on the Gas House Gang, which can be seen on KMOX's YouTube, X, and Facebook pages. Also heard live on KMOX every day at noon. Ollie on Tuesdays. The Cardinals lost 8-4 last night. They play at 2:10 today. St. Louis Composting. Enjoy your outdoor space this summer. St. Louis Composting. You can order mulch, compost, soil at any of their 9 locations or online for delivery at stlcompost.com. They transform organic yard waste, branches, leaves, grass clippings, and more into premium compost. They're the most trusted compost provider in the St. Louis area, and they're committed to producing only the best. Whether you're looking for bulk compost or just a few bags, St. Louis Composting, an extensive selection of compost, soil blends, and mulches. That's what we went with, mulch. Order online, stlcompost.com, stlcompost.com.
This is Mason Wynn of the Cards. Community America asked me to tell you what it feels like on Profit Payout Day, when our members get a portion of the profits. I'm thinking it probably feels like opening day. Exciting, new, or even better, I bet it feels like playing the star shortstop who turns a game-winning double play. And the fans go wild. They ask for selfies with you and autographs. You get a lifetime supply of free stadium hot dogs. Yep, that's basically what it feels like when you get your profit payout. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
Experience the magic of the Fabulous Foxes 2025-2026 Broadway season, which includes the return of St. Louis favorite, The Phantom of the Opera, and the spellbinding spectacular Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And right now, KMOX has your chance to win a pair of season tickets for the 2025-2026 season. Prize package includes a pair of tickets for all 8 shows in the subscription package. Register now online at KMOX.com/contests for your chance to win.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:50 and time for us to get you updated on your ride in and to tell you about this very dangerous weather with our extreme heat warning in effect through tomorrow night. Roger Brand's going to tell us what your ride in looks like and if any problems have cropped up since the last time we chatted. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, we got a new one in South County right now, Debbie. This traffic reports service of Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical. It's a crash northbound 270 north of Tesson Ferry before the Sappington Road overpass. It could be in the right lane. It's hard for me to tell. It's definitely over to the right side. Traffic's bogged down at 55 up to that crash point. Other than that, it's just a little busy north of Doherty Ferry. It's a little busy approaching 64. Eastbound 70 and 64 coming off southbound 61, still a crate coming out of Wentzville. Northbound 55 down south, it's okay, but we are slower from Bayless up through about Holly Hills. Southbound 61 is a good, like I said, but southbound 79 has a jam coming down to North Main Street, so be prepared. It's pretty solid running through there from, almost Ackerman Road, really, it looks like. So pretty heavy at that point. And then on the Illinois side, we've got a delay southbound 55. It's on the brakes midway from 143 down to 270, and westbound 70 approaching 270, midway in between 159 and 157. A lot of backed up traffic there. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
In the 70s, baseball player Jerry Kelly decided to do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
This year, the company Jerry started decided we'd do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating, Air, and Electrical.
And electrical.
JerryKelly.com.
Weather forecast from AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg. Extreme heat warning in effect through 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and you're going to feel like it's 110 over the next 2 afternoons. High 98 today, low 79 tonight. More humidity tomorrow with a high of 100. It's 6:52 a.m., and it's almost 80 degrees. It's 79 downtown at the Arch.
A special tribute to fallen soldiers of Vietnam will be on display at Jefferson Barracks starting tomorrow.
The Wall That Heals, a replica of the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C., will be set up here at Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery. It has more than 58,000 names engraved with backlighting so the names can be read day or night. Volunteers will assemble the wall today, and the opening ceremony is tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And after that, it will be open every hour of the day until 2 p.m. Sunday.
Each night at sunset, we'll be playing taps at the wall.
Quinn Hinman is the Historic and Sites Manager for St. Louis County Parks.
Friday night is actually a candlelight PTSD memorial ceremony. So that's at sunset around 8:30. It should be pretty special.
Hinman says friends and family are welcome to leave behind mementos of those who they're honoring. More than 450 St. Louisans are named on that wall.
Folks are interested in leaving behind some memorabilia. We can certainly accommodate that. Most of those donations would probably go to one of our museums at Jefferson Barracks, but it's my understanding that a lot of things get left behind at the wall, things that people want to leave, or flowers, or memorabilia, or just things that are sentimental to them.
Guided tours are available, but you have to sign up in advance. The wall is free to attend. At Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery, Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Starting next Monday, Target shoppers will no longer be able to match to other retailers. You'll only be able to price match Target prices against Target, and only if the price drops in 14 days. The current policy allows customers to match the Target price if they find it cheaper at places like Walmart and Amazon. To be fair, Walmart and Amazon stopped price matching other stores back in 2019.
I didn't even know they did that.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Imagine your dreams, but in art form. A company in the Netherlands has just developed an AI-powered dream recorder that turns your nocturnal emotions into a short, low-definition video. You just have to dictate what you dreamed into the box, and it will come up with a visual representation using artificial intelligence. It's not meant to recreate your dream like a play-by-play, so don't expect too much detail, and it's not clear yet if it can handle the naughty stuff.
All righty then. Who's Hot, Who's Not was sponsored by St. Louis Composting. The Cardinals have split the first two in this series. They play at 2:10 tonight and 1:15 for the pregame this afternoon. 2:10 this afternoon, I should say, not tonight. Cardinals got rocked early last night again, and Eric Fetty would qualify as Who's Not.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Actor Daniel Radcliffe. Who is he? He's this guy. Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
He's celebrating a birthday today. Also celebrating a birthday, Woody Harrelson. He's 64. He's one of my favorite actors, I would say.
Oh, you got to play this next one, though.
What's that? This one?
Oh, I guess my sound. Here we go.
Saul Hudson, happy birthday. People are like, who the heck is Saul Hudson?
Slash.
How old is Slash? He is 60 today.
Local celebrity birthday sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Joanne Constantinou, happy 94th, Marianne Mackin. Also, Matthew Rocchio and Marie Grubb.
The best birthday ever.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Bill talks about why he loves 3-day kitchen and bath.
I was looking to renovate a home that I purchased. They came out, did all of the work in a timely fashion, and looks first rate.
Bill, would you recommend 3-day kitchen and bath?
Oh, yes, definitely. Not only because of the quality of the work, but also the quality of the service along the line from the beginning until the end. They were there and with me, and as we went along, I saw some things that I thought I might want to change, and we're happy to do that. Really pleased with the way they work. As I said, not only the quality of the work, but also the quality of the service along the way.
It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows, Universal Windows Direct.
This is Glover. Right now, choose from payments as low as $99 a month or 12 months with no payments and no interest, plus a free in-home window and energy assessment. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Roger Brand's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, they have the right lane blocked now for the crash I talked about earlier. Northbound 270 near the Sappington Road overpass north of Tesson Ferry. Northbound 270 is backed up onto the North 55 on-ramp. If you're on northbound 55 itself, north of Bayless up to Weber, Loughborough, Virginia area, there's a couple of slowdowns. We have an overturned vehicle crash on northbound Telegraph just north of Christopher, jamming traffic in the area there. Northbound 270, once you get past Tesson Ferry, still kind of slow from Clayton Road up to 64. Southbound 79, Ackerman down to North Main Street, you're backed up. And on the Illinois side, southbound 55 jams onto westbound 270 past 159. From the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump has announced a sweeping new trade deal with Japan. CBS's Kelly O'Grady has the specifics.
Japan is our 5th largest trading partner. Last year, it exported roughly $148 billion worth of goods to the U.S., and that included cars, electronics, and chemicals. Now, the 15% tariff means prices could go up for U.S. consumers. Note, though, Japan already imposes tariffs on U.S. goods entering their country. So the president says this new deal will provide a win for American farmers and automakers to more easily sell to Japan.
President Trump says British pharmaceutical giant AstraZeneca will invest $50 billion in the U.S. over the next 5 years.
$50 billion, that's a big investment. And it's going to be a very good investment. I have no doubt about it.
The company says it'll boost manufacturing and research operations here, including building a multi-billion-dollar factory in Virginia. There's a sentencing hearing today for Brian Kohberger. He's the man who pleaded guilty to stabbing 4 University of Idaho students to death. The plea agreement spares him the death penalty, and he may never reveal his motive. CBS's Amanda Arden is in Boise.
The victims' families want to know why, some sort of explanation of why he committed these murders, but that's just not required in a sentence, and it's very unlikely.
The man accused of driving a car into a crowd outside an East Hollywood nightclub over the weekend is now facing 74 felony charges.
Fernando Ramirez of San Clemente remains hospitalized, recovering from a gunshot wound that was inflicted on him by one of the angry people in the crowd outside the Vermont Hollywood nightclub on Saturday night. LA District Attorney Nathan Hochman said the multiple felony charges are appropriate in this particular case.
37 counts of attempted murder and 37 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, the deadly weapon being the car. These counts correspond to each of the 37 victims.
Ramirez is also accused of inflicting great bodily injury on 8 of the 37 victims. If convicted, he's facing multiple terms of life in prison. Pete Demetrio for CBS News, Los Angeles.
President Trump delivers the keynote address at an AI summit in Washington today.
The president has made expansion of AI data centers a key focus of his administration, coupled with expansion of energy infrastructure to power those AI facilities. His address at the Mellon Auditorium is expected to follow the unveiling of his administration's AI action plan. In addition, Trump is expected to sign a number of executive orders involving AI content, construction of AI data centers, and exports of American technology. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
Dow futures up 215. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
It is 7:04, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we have plenty of sunshine. It is 79 degrees downtown. I'm Debbie Monterrey, and the news is sponsored by St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station.
I'm Tom Ackerman. Missouri counties could lose millions in tax revenue after the Missouri Supreme Court ruled they can't stack their own marijuana taxes on top of municipalities.
Early projections say that St. Louis County could lose about $3 million out of the $4.5 million they collect annually on the marijuana sales tax revenue. I spoke with Councilman Dennis Hancock, who doesn't think that's a huge deal at the end of the day.
$1 billion budget, that's barely a decimal point.
However, with the county operating at a budget deficit, Councilwoman Rita Hurd Days believes every dollar counts.
Over $55 million in the hole, so any hit on that is going to be adding more to the deficit.
In Clayton, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
I'm Michael Calhoun. St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman says they've collected about $2 million off the tax, but they've kept that set aside. He does expect it'll be returned to customers, but how to do that is another question.
I don't know how many people, and I don't know what kind of proof they have to show that they've paid it.
And Ellman, a longtime Republican, tells KMOX that, yes, he found himself in the unusual situation of defending a tax.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, I'm generally... It's the only tax I've ever voted for, I believe.
But he still takes issue with the decision, saying that both cities and counties can double charge sales tax on groceries, for example.
The trial for former St. Louis Oversight Board member Janice Mensah begins today. Mensah had entered the jail in August 2023, sat in the waiting room hoping to gain access inside as a member of the Detention Facility Oversight Board. This was just after a hostage situation and a detainee death. Instead, Mensah was arrested and charged with trespassing and resisting arrest. Mensah, despite the low-level charges, is nervous.
I'm scared. I'm distraught. But I am also grateful that I have the support of, hundreds of community members.
Mensah is hopeful the jail's then Commissioner Jennifer Clemens Abdullah will testify. Clemens Abdullah frequently butted heads with the Oversight Board and instructed staff to call the police on Mensah.
Boeing has made one last offer to their union employees in St. Louis, hoping to strike a new deal before the current one ends this weekend. VP of Air Dominance for Boeing, Dan Gillian, says this is a historic offer.
The offer we put on the table represents the best offer that Boeing has made to this union in our history.
The offer includes a 20% raise, faster progression up the pay scale, more PTO, and more.
If you buy a property in a tax sale in the city, you don't have to pay the unpaid sewer bill tied to that place. That's according to an appeals court ruling in favor of Tabernacle Community Development, which bought a property in North City in 2022 in a tax sale, only to find out that MSD had a lien on the property. The ability to wipe away those unpaid sewer bills is seen as a good thing because they were hindering redevelopment in blighted neighborhoods. Sometimes the sewer bills exceeded the value of the property.
A traveling wall honoring veterans of the Vietnam War has arrived in St. Louis.
The wall that heals was escorted by motorcycles to Jefferson Barracks, where volunteers will be putting it together today.
The wall that heals is a 3/4 scale replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. It's coming to us from the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund, and they are the keepers and creators of the wall.
Quinn Hinman is the Historic and Sites Manager for St. Louis County Parks and Rec, says Jefferson Barracks is the perfect setting for the wall.
So I think a lot of people in the St. Louis community associate Jefferson Barracks with the cemetery. And so I think it goes without saying that many of the names that are on the memorial, their final resting place is at the cemetery in Jefferson Barracks.
At Jefferson Barracks, Thursday through Sunday, the wall that heals will be on display for 24 hours a day. Opening ceremony starts at 10 a.m. Thursday. Guided tours will be available. Taps will be featured each night at sunset, and Friday night there will be a special candlelight ceremony. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
It is 7:08. Traffic and weather are next.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and unnegotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Chris Ranji for Siteman Cancer Center, and you have to know that you are somebody's favorite person, and your health matters not just to you, but it matters to people who care about you. Getting screened early for any cancer, whether it's colon or breast cancer, prostate cancer, or lung cancer, it is important to do that. Siteman has set up a website called getscreenednow.com. And when you go to it, it's going to help you find a location nearer you. If you live a little farther out from St. Louis and don't want to make the trip into the city, you can get screened closer to home. GetScreenedNow.com, because for me, I'm over 45. It's time for that colonoscopy. Third leading cause of cancer-related deaths in both men and women. And GetScreenedNow.com will help you find a location that is good for you. Doing it early, really, really important. GetScreenedNow.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
710 Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, they're still working with this crash on northbound 270 north of Tesson Ferry near the Sappington Road overpass. They still have the right lane shut down for it, so northbound 270 is backed up onto the 55 north exit ramp getting onto North 270. Solid jam through there. Once you get past that crash scene, though, of course, you're good to go all the way up to Ladue. Out west, southbound 61, eastbound 70, 64 all look good. Southbound 79, you still have a backup near Ackerman Road down to North Main Street, bumper to bumper there. Northbound 55, a little slow. It keeps moving around right now. It looks like it's slow from Loughborough up to about Virginia. Not terrible, just a little busy there. And on the Illinois side, we still have this backed up traffic in the detour stretch. Southbound 55 starts to bog down south of 143 down to 270. Westbound 70 backs up approaching 270, and it's stop-and-go pockets on 270 past 159. Next update at 720 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, an extreme heat warning remains in effect through 7 p.m. tomorrow, with AccuWeather real field temperatures over 110 the next 2 afternoons. More sun than clouds today. Very hot and humid this afternoon, high 98. Mainly clear, very warm and humid tonight, though 79. Tomorrow, sunny to partly cloudy, very hot and humid, the high 100. Friday, partly sunny, still hot and humid with a thunderstorm, especially in the afternoon, high 95. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, it is sunny and 79 degrees at 712.
Congressman Mike Bost of the Metro East heard from constituents in a telephone town hall, though some say they'd rather have faced him in a more traditional in-person meeting. Bost responded to a caller question about cuts to SNAP food assistance.
When it comes to SNAP, we did not cut SNAP. What we did was we said that if you are a recipient of SNAP, You are between the age of 18 and 65. You are not mentally or physically disabled. You do not have a child under 12, or you're not pregnant. Then you are required to work.
Others express concern about hospitals in outstate areas.
The next question, our office receives calls asking how the One Big Beautiful Bill will impact rural health care. Can you talk about that?
I sure can. To those of you who have heard rumors from the critics that this will destroy rural health care, don't believe the scare tactics.
Boss said Medicare, which serves seniors, isn't affected, but admitted changes to Medicaid, which is for low-income people.
KMOX already told you about that new Harvard study that has linked children living by Coldwater Creek in North County to a higher cancer risk. Now, with the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act approved, those affected can now seek compensation. People currently ill from radiation exposure will receive $50,000, while beneficiaries of deceased loved ones will get $25,000 to be split if there's more than one beneficiary. An informational meeting to answer questions about receiving compensation is set for tomorrow night from 6 to 8 at the James Egan Gymnasium.
Coca-Cola says it will release a new Coke made with cane sugar in the fall as part of its product range. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer.
President Trump hinted at the announcement late last week, and now Coca-Cola is confirming it will offer a new Coke product made with cane sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup. But this will be an alternative choice and will not replace any of the current Coke products. SLU Care General Internist Dr. Fred Buchhold at SSML St. Louis University Hospital says it's not really a big health difference between the two types of sugar.
As I say, a can of Coke, I like to call it diabetes in a can. I think it has the equivalent of 10 cubes of sugar in it. So high fructose corn syrup, cane sugar, it's still really not a good thing to drink.
Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Mike Clayton, John Rooney, this is Ricky Horton. Last night, the Cardinals lost to the Colorado Rockies, evening the series in Colorado at 1-1. The Rockies won 8-4 after the Cardinals won the first game of the series 6-2. Each team had 11 hits yesterday, but the runs came early for Colorado as Eric Fedde, who picked up the loss, his 10th loss of the year, gave up 6 Rockies runs on 7 hits through 3 innings of work. Kyle Leahy relieved him and was outstanding. 3 2/3 innings, a career-high 7 strikeouts. The Cardinals battled back some big hits, a multi-hit game for Jordan Walker again. Really good offense from Alec Burleson, but they couldn't come all the way back. Again, a 2-hit game for Wilson Contreras, but an 8-4 Cardinal loss. Today, it'll be Andre Palante, 5-6, up against to be determined for the Rockies. Our pregame show begins at 1:15. Our play-by-play at 2 o'clock. We hope you'll join us. This has been your Redbird Recap.
With more, here's KMOX's Matt Pauley.
After Eric Fedde throws just 3 innings, giving up 6 runs, Kyle Leahy comes in and gives the club a chance to come back in what turns into an 8-4 loss at Colorado. Leahy also saves the bullpen, allowing just 1 run in 3 2/3 innings, striking out 7. Manager Oliver Marmol spoke of the impact of the outing.
Leahy was impressive. You look at his last outing, was able to punch out 3. You look at him today, stuff was electric. The curveball was a real pitch for him. The sweeper got 2 punch outs, got ahead of almost everybody. Another 7 punch outs, man. It looked really good. So what he was able to do to give us 3 2/3 was important, especially where we were with our pen. So very solid outing by Leahy. Yeah, a lot to be excited about there.
Leahy was pitching with a heavy heart. A native of Colorado, he was able to see his sick grandmother Ruth on Monday when the team arrived to Denver. She passed away prior to yesterday's game. His grandparents were Rocky season ticket holders and took him to many games growing up. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Matt, thank you. We're going to give Kyle Leahy our player to bank on, brought to you by Community America Credit Union, invested in you. Really good performance by him yesterday. Let's jump into some college football briefly, shall we? The terrific job by Illinois last year is being touted by many right now. The Fighting Illini are picked 4th in the Big Ten preseason poll from the media. That is really something. And coming up at 7:45, you'll hear a little bit of Brett Bielema. But yesterday, when that poll came out, the number 1 team, Penn State, Ohio State, you had, of course, Illinois at 4 ahead of some of the other big names. Michigan is mixed in there, but Oregon is ahead of Illinois, and Illinois at 4. Big season coming for the Fighting Illini potentially, and Brett Bielema on the way at 7:45. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals. Coming up at 7:45, we'll also hear from Ollie Marmol on his relationship with John Mozeliak. He says there are times where he talks to Mozeliak more than his own wife, but with that comes some disagreements. He'll dive into it in a half hour.
Your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball. 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Seems like back to school happens earlier each year.
First day of school coming in hot.
And this year, my kids had massive supply lists.
Folders, notebooks, and pens. Oh, the humanity.
But Staples had everything I needed, with some items just 25 cents.
Watch the small print.
No. My back to school budget was saved by Staples Easy Button.
Everything for school, in stock and as low as 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
In store, online, and on the app. In St. 23 while supplies last.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
If you need to sell a home, you need Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. The name really does say it all. So if you're ready to sell your home, but you would like as little stress as possible, maybe a written guarantee. How many things come with a real guarantee? Well, Gloria Liu and her ability to sell your home, she'll guarantee in writing to sell your home at 100% of market value, or she will pay you the difference. So if you're ready to just start packing up your things and moving on to your next adventure, well, then you want Gloria Liu. You give her a call at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or you can visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com for her guaranteed sale program report. As always, seller and Gloria must agree on price and possession date, but your home sold guaranteed, or she'll buy it herself. Your home is sold with Gloria Liu, guaranteed. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Roger Brand on this hot morning in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, they're still working with the crash on northbound 270 near the Sappington Road overpass north of Tesson Ferry. Right lane still shut down, so north 270 is backed up onto 55, and the right lanes of north 55 are bogged down almost at Butler Hill, getting up to that north 270 ramp. Once you get onto 270 and past that crash scene near Sappington, it's good to go all the way up to Ladue. Northbound 55, Bayless up through Virginia. There's just generally slow traffic there. Still seeing a little bit of a backup northbound on Telegraph from Christopher up to Susan. That's where we have an overturned vehicle wreck on Telegraph right now. Eastbound Highway 70, a minor crash on the shoulder near the Blanchette Bridge. Traffic slows approaching 94 up to that. Southbound 79, you still got delays south of Hackman down to North Main Street. Eastbound 64, a little busy. 94 through Research Park. And on the Illinois side, southbound 55 still a jam midway from 143 down to 270. Westbound 270 slow from the 5570 interchange there, headed through 159. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Extreme heat warning in effect through tomorrow night. Today and tomorrow are extremely hot. Today, more sun than clouds, humid, 98 degrees. Tomorrow's high 100. It's going to feel like it's hotter than 110 today and tomorrow. Right now, it's 79 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
And the weather sponsored by Rapid Radios, instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
The news continues at 7:22 on a day when the president of the Philippines was in the Oval Office. President Trump continued his attacks on his Democratic predecessors, Barack Obama and Joe Biden, labeling Obama as a traitor. Meanwhile, the Jeffrey Epstein controversy continues to swirl.
With Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. sitting next to him in the Oval Office, President Trump deflected questions directed to him by reporters regarding the Epstein case, instead seeking to turn the spotlight on former President Obama, claiming he masterminded the Russia investigation that dogged Trump for much of his first term.
This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard this week submitted a criminal referral from her office and released a press release asserting, quote, overwhelming evidence Obama and his national security team orchestrated a years-long coup against President Trump.
They caught President Obama absolutely cold. They tried to rig the election, and they got caught.
Trump said the former president should face serious consequences.
Whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper.
Democrats say Gabbard revealed nothing that implicates Obama or anyone in his or the Biden administration in any wrongdoing, and that the president is simply trying to deflect attention from the Jeffrey Epstein controversy that is gripping Washington for a third straight week. The DOJ says they will seek an interview with Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's imprisoned former associate, to learn more about who may have been involved in illegal acts with Epstein. Trump was asked about that yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do. Yeah, I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt.
The remarks came as Trump welcomed President Marcos to trade talks at the White House. Trump noted the Philippines had been drifting toward China and away from America in recent years.
But, you know, you had a country that was tilting toward China for a period of time. And I just don't think that would have been good for you. You could deal with China. You should deal with China. But when I got elected, everything changed and they came right back to us.
The Philippines is a key ally in the Pacific as the U.S. attempts to restrict Chinese influence there. President Trump said he will probably visit China in the not too distant future and may meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin if and when he does. John Stolnis, Washington.
House Speaker Mike Johnson announced he's ending the House session earlier than planned amid a clash with his own party over the Epstein files. The move angered a number of prominent pro-MAGA Republicans who are readying a House subpoena to compel testimony from Ghislaine Maxwell.
House Speaker Mike Johnson has sent his members home earlier than planned for an August recess, rebuffing pressure to act on the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. There's a bipartisan push for a vote on legislation aiming to force the release of more Epstein probe documents. Johnson notes President Trump's already pushed to make more information public.
He has now ordered his DOJ to do what it is we've all needed DOJ to do for years now, and that is to get everything released. So they're in the process of that. There's no purpose for Congress to push an administration to do something that they're already doing.
That's not good enough for some Republicans who demand the House intervene, and the month-long break is unlikely to relieve pressure on Johnson to act. GOP maverick Thomas Massey's pushing for a vote, saying it's a watershed moment for Johnson and the president.
I think he's scared. I think he's terrified. 80% of MAGA, once these files released, they were promised this, they expected this, and it's not happening. But at the same time, he feels an allegiance to President Trump, who's gone against the MAGA base on this. So I think he's torn. I think the right thing to do would be just leave it up to the people's house. Let us vote on whether to release these files or not.
Democrats are watching the GOP fight with glee. California's Ted Lieu says leadership clearly has something to hide.
This is a cover-up of epic proportions where you've got the majority party literally having us leave Congress early and not having the Rules Committee meet because they don't want to deal with releasing the Epstein files.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
I'm Maria Kina with important information about the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act.
It is 7:27. The time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
I met my wife in law school at the University of Florida. She was from upstate New York and I was from Kentucky. We met at a daily mass at St. Augustine's. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in my life. After communion, I followed her out of the church and got her phone number. The rest is history. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Little did we know that one day we would have 4 children and the largest injury firm in the world. All 4 work in the business. It's a family business. Did I ever see this coming? Hell no. We just worked very hard and treated our clients like we would want to be treated, like family. It's a full-service injury firm, auto accidents, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, Social Security, and insurance disputes. We're open 24/7, 365 days a year. Visit forthepeople.com and we can get to work on your case. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. Buying your brand new Buick or GMC has never been easier. Here at Suntrup Buick GMC, our family-owned and operated dealership has been proudly servicing St. Charles County for over 30 years by always providing aggressive pricing, a massive inventory selection, and exceptional customer service. Buying from Suntrup means you get the best vehicle at the best price. Visit Suntrup Buick GMC today or visit us online at suntrupbuickgmc.com and save more at Suntrup Buick GMC.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
At 7:30, it's going to be a hot one today. It's already 80 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, they just reopened the right lane where this crash is. It's still on the right shoulder, but the right lane's open at least on northbound 270 just before the Sappington Road overpass. Northbound 270, a solid jam back onto the North 55 ramp. The right lanes of 55 are bogged down at Butler Hill. If you're sticking with 55, it's pretty slow from the Union Road overpass all the way up through Virginia in spots. Northbound Telegraph looks like we're doing better. Coming up through Christopher, we had an overturned vehicle crash north of there, so it looks like they've cleared it. Southbound 270 from Olive down to Ladue is a little slow. Eastbound 70, you have a jam now from about Hawks Nest or east of Zumbel up to the Blanchette Bridge. We had a crash on the shoulder there. Southbound 79 south of Hackman down to North Main Street. Still have delays there. Eastbound 64, a little slow, 94 to Research Park and right around the Interbelt through Hanley. Westbound 64, McCausland to Hanley is heavy. And on the Illinois side, we still have a backup. Southbound 55, midway down from 143 to 270. And westbound 270 is slow from that 55 interchange past 159. Then it starts picking up the pace. Also looks a little busy at the Canal Bridge. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're in an extreme heat warning in effect through 7 p.m. tomorrow. AccuWeather, real field temperatures over 110 the next 2 afternoons. Today, more sun than clouds, very hot and humid this afternoon, high 98. Tonight, mainly clear, very warm and sticky, low 79. Tomorrow, sunny to partly cloudy, very hot and humid, high of 100. Today, and starting right now, we are climbing very quickly. It's 80 degrees downtown at the Arch.
In a KMOX follow-up, we told you last week about that new Harvard study using baby teeth from the 60s and 70s to link children living by Coldwater Creek to a higher risk of cancer. There is a special meeting tomorrow night addressing how victims may now be compensated.
The Radiation Exposure Compensation Act has been approved. Now people can find out what they need to do next. We talk with Just Moms STL founder Dawn Chapman about this Thursday's meeting.
There is a standard amount if you are already sick, or if you want to do the medical reimbursement, that has no cap. So the standard amount, if you're already sick and you qualify for one of those cancers, is $50,000.
Chapman tells KMOX if you have a loved one that has already passed away and you are a beneficiary, the amount you receive then is $25,000. That money will go to direct deposit. This Thursday's meeting is at the James Egan Gymnasium from 6 to 8. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
On Monday, KMOX reported on residents of the Darting Lakes' opposition to the putting up a cell tower on church property that is essentially in the middle of their subdivision, Darting Lake Estates. Planning and Zoning has advanced the special use permit onto the Board of Aldermen. A statement from the St. Peter's Board of Aldermen says Mayor Len Pagano may only vote on the special use permit if there is a tie vote by the Board of Aldermen. The statement emphasizes that a hearing will be held where evidence will be presented before the board makes a decision, which must align with city ordinances and state and federal law.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got your money report from Bloomberg coming up next at 7:33.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Your Money Report, sponsored by Busey Bank. It's 7:34. Let's turn our attention to Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. Boeing thinks the boom in air travel is here to stay, and it projects airlines around the world will have to hire nearly 2.5 million aviation professionals over the next 2 decades. Boeing sees a need for 660 pilots, 710 maintenance technicians, and 1 million cabin crew members. Progress on trade ahead of next week's deadline. President Donald Trump announcing a deal with Japan that sets tariffs on the nation's imports at 15%. That includes cars, by far the biggest component of the trade deficit between the countries. The deal will also see Japan invest $550 billion into the U.S. And Amazon goes deeper into artificial intelligence, buying a San Francisco startup named Bee, which makes a wearable AI assistant. The $50 device, called the Pioneer Bracelet, records and transcribes the owner's activities, then populates to-do lists and summarizes conversations. An Amazon spokesperson says all Bee employees received offers to join Amazon as part of the deal. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Life doesn't stand still, and neither do your goals. At Busey Bank, we're here to help you move forward with the financial tools, local support, and expert guidance you need to take your next step. Whether you're growing a business, leaving a legacy, or saving for the future, you'll have a team that's ready when you are. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Calling all soccer fans. The Premier League is coming to STL. St. Louis City SC will host English Premier League giants Aston Villa Football Club. Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. Wednesday, July 30th at 7:30 p.m. That's stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa. Presented by Purina.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Hey guys, Glover here from my friends at Zero Res. It's National Carpet Cleaning Month, and because of Zero Res's commitment to the DGS, you're going to get 3 rooms of carpeting clean plus 1 free plus $50 off your air duct services. 314-474-2020, ZeroResSTL.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com. This afternoon,
the Cards, the Rockies,
Ackerman Total Access 115.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:38, and a special tribute to fallen soldiers of Vietnam will be on display at Jefferson Barracks starting tomorrow.
The Wall That Heals, a replica of the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C., will be set up here at Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery. It has more than 58,000 names engraved with backlighting, so the names can be read day or night. Volunteers will assemble the wall today, and the opening ceremony is tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And after that, it'll be open every hour of the day until 2 p.m. Sunday.
Each night at sunset, we'll be playing taps at the wall.
Quinn Hinman is the Historic and Sites Manager for St. Louis County Parks.
Friday night is actually a candlelight PTSD memorial ceremony. So that's at sunset around 8:30. It should be pretty special.
Hinman says friends and family are welcome to leave behind mementos of those who they're honoring. More than 450 St. Louisans are named on that wall.
Folks are interested in leaving behind some memorabilia. We can certainly accommodate that. Most of those donations would probably go to one of our museums at Jefferson Barracks, but it's my understanding that a lot of things get left behind at the wall, things that people want to leave, or flowers, or memorabilia, or just things that are sentimental to them.
Guided tours are available, but you have to sign up in advance. The wall is free to attend. At Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery, Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
At 7:40, a few slowdowns out there. Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's certainly busy out there, Tom. This traffic reports the service of Metro Transit. Got a couple of crashes on North 270 now. One right at the 55 merge on Ramp Point, which is blocking the far right lane. And then after that, you've still got that one on the right shoulder north of Tesson Ferry. So it's still backed up in pockets through there. North 55, the right lanes are bogged down at Butler Hill. Once you get past that point, it's slow again from Big Bend up to Manchester, 64 to Ladue, South 270, Page to Ladue. That's heavy. That was a stall. We had an earlier crash, then a stall. They just cleared the left lane, eastbound 70 at the Blanchette Bridge. Traffic still jammed pretty close to Zumbel on eastbound 70 right now. Southbound 79 south of Hackman down to Main Street is backed up. Eastbound 64 slow. 94 to Research Park, a little busy around Clarkson and McKnight to Big Bend. South 170 delays at the Parkway. Westbound 64 from the Science Center headed out to Hanley slow. Northbound 55 backed up Bayless Weber slow up toward Loughborough. Eastbound 44 at the Poplar, a report of a crash. EMS en route heavy there. Southbound 55 a little slow on to westbound 270, which is still heavy past 159. Next update is 7:50 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
Get a Metro Transit $5 day pass from Metro St. Louis and go anywhere Metro goes, no matter how far or how long, all day long. Super chill, clean, safe, and reliable, not to mention AC and free Wi-Fi. Go to metrostl.org to get your pass today.
Let's check in right now with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg, and we're already at 80 degrees and 88% humidity, so lovely. Lovely start to the day, Joe.
It's just a chewy start to the morning. Debbie, it is only going to get worse from here, and get used to it. This is something that we're going to have to deal with through the weekend and into the beginning of next week. Now, the extreme heat warning is only for today and tomorrow, but don't be surprised. It is still going to be very hot and humid Friday through the weekend. More sun and clouds today. I think most places stay dry. I think any thunderstorm threats off to Metro East and beyond are high 98. Clear, warm, sticky tonight, 79, so it doesn't cool off at night. More sun and clouds tomorrow. We could reach 100 in the afternoon. By the way, real field temperatures, what it feels like to you and me, they're going to be up around 110. Just brutal the next couple of days. And not much relief Friday. Partly sunny, maybe only 95 when there could be a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Saturday and Sunday, sun and clouds, hot and humid, our high 96 both days with real feels between 105 and 110. You'll have to dodge a thunderstorm at some point both days of the weekend. 82 in St. Peter's, 82 in Florissant, sunshine and 82 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Sports coming up in 2 minutes. More trouble for Tanya Haddix. She's accused of violating the terms of her bond again by owning another chimpanzee.
Tonka and I just found each other. And Tonka loved me as much as I loved Tonka.
Haddix lives in Sunrise Beach, Missouri, and over the weekend she was arrested by U.S. Marshals in Camden County. A Missouri State Court judge found 4 companies affiliated with the wild animal broker and her husband in contempt of court for ignoring orders to hand over financial records and other related documents to PETA.
This latest female chimp was found on Haddix's property in a cage while a search warrant was being served July 9th. She made a St. Louis federal court appearance yesterday. Haddix previously pleaded guilty to 2 counts of perjury, 1 count of obstructing justice for lying to a federal judge about the chimp Tonka's whereabouts and disobeying a court order to surrender him to PETA.
Former SNL star Pete Davidson is stepping into fatherhood, and he couldn't be more thrilled. Days after girlfriend Elsie Hewitt announced her pregnancy, the comedian opened up about the news at the premiere for The Home.
Honestly, I couldn't be more excited. As you know, it's been my dream forever, since I was a little kid. The baby's mother is one of my favorite people to ever exist ever. She's going to be a great mom, and I'm just stoked, and I hope to be, the dad that I hope that I would have.
Davidson lost his father on 9/11. Says he has the support from friends like Adam Sandler and his own family for what he calls the most exciting chapter of his life.
Folks around the world remembering Ozzy Osbourne, who died yesterday at the age of 76. His family confirming the news, saying he passed peacefully, surrounded by loved ones. From Black Sabbath frontman to reality TV icon, Ozzy defined a generation of rock and rebellion.
People often say to me, how long do you think you can carry on doing it? For as long as those kids want to see me and as long as I feel that I can do it, I'll do it. I think that's the reason why I've lasted so long, is because I am outrageous and I love being outrageous. I'm Ozzy.
Ozzy Osbourne is survived by his wife Sharon and 6 children, including Jack and Kelly.
Crazy Train is a staple at
Oh,
blues games for sure. And others. 7:45. Ins and Outs, sponsored by Innsbruck Resort, where every day is the weekend. Let's start with Ollie Marmol, Cardinals manager, on the Gas House Gang on KMOX, and discussed, among other things, his relationship with John Mozeliak. He said they're together a lot, and with that comes disagreements.
At times, the objective of his seat and my seat aren't the same, and that's okay. But as recent as a couple days ago, where it's like, man, I absolutely hate it. It's not what I want. But there's been times, if I'm being honest, where I absolutely hated a move or we disagreed on how we were going to move forward with something. And you let a week go by and it worked out the way he said it was going to work out. And guess what? He was right about it. I didn't love it. I didn't like doing it, but it worked out, and it's worked out the other way at times as well. So you're going to have that back and forth. But as long as you understand that at the end of the day, we want to win, and you can respectfully disagree, then I think that's just part of working with people and dealing with emotions. And like, that's just the gig. But you have to do it in a way that makes sense, and you pick your spots for it, knowing that no one has a crystal ball, and there's times where you can be hell-bent on something and super convicted and be wrong. But yeah, there's disagreements. But at the same time, it's I think every manager will tell you that's just part of the gig.
Cardinals are 8 days away from the trade deadline. They lost last night at Colorado 8-4. Playing this afternoon at 2:10. Pregame at 1:15. Gas House Gang before that at noon. It streams on YouTube, X, and Facebook, and airs right here on KMOX. College football is a little over a month away, and we talk a lot about Mizzou around here, but Illinois is actually better. Illinois has a ranking probably when the top 25 comes out right around where they finished last year, 16. And they have a schedule that's somewhat favorable. They'll open with Western Illinois, then they go to Duke, Western Michigan at home, then at Indiana for their Big Ten opener is the first challenge, USC at home, at Purdue, and then Ohio State at home before the bye on October 11th. Things get a lot easier with their schedule after that. Here's Brett Bielema, their coach.
When the schedule actually came out, we play the latest game without a break, right? We don't give a bye week until bye week 8. Some people have them as early as week 2 and 3. So we have the latest bye week of anybody in our conference, and it's just happens to come after a 4-game stretch where we're at Indiana, at home against USC, at Purdue, at home against Ohio State. So really, a 4-game stretch there that is pretty intense. I think that is probably our biggest challenge. So I've really kind of set up winter, spring, and even this summer. We've kind of been stressing that to our team, like we're going to have to be at our best.
Big Ten Media Days going on right now in Vegas. Illinois picked 4th in the Big Ten media poll. Innsbruck-resort.com. I direct you there. That is a great, great place, Innsbruck. And matter of fact, speaking of college football, we stayed there in the fall during Mizzou, Oklahoma weekend, and that was a great choice. It's also always a great choice to go there during the summer. What a great summer vacation location that is, and located right here in the St. Louis area. Innsbruck is located in Warren County, right outside of Wright City, off the Wright City exit on I-70. So roughly an hour from where I'm sitting here in downtown St. Louis, and a great place to unwind and relax. We were just talking about it last night, our upcoming trip to Innsbruck and how much we're all looking forward to it. Our kids know Innsbruck as a place they've grown up in. Vacation mode is where we all enter when we go through the gates of Innsbruck. 100 lakes, 7,500 acres, just a big playground of activity and relaxation. Innsbruck-resort.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's why we've teamed up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to bring you 100 acts of kindness.
For the next 6 months, the Chris and Amy Show is challenging you to spread kindness in simple, meaningful ways. No big budget needed.
Write a thank you note, help a neighbor, surprise someone with a smile. It all counts.
Let's prove that kindness is contagious. Share your acts with us by using hashtag 100KindActs.
Because a little kindness goes a long way.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:50 and time for us to get you another check of the roadways and our hot, steamy weather. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
They're still busy out there, Debbie, if you're heading out. In fact, I'm still looking at this crash partially in the right lane. It's the end of the ramp coming on from northbound 55 or 55 in general onto North 270. So a little backup on the ramp. North 55 itself is bogged down at Butler Hill. Once you get onto North 270, still heavy up to the Sappington overpass where you had that crash on the shoulder. Heavy both sides of 44, Big Bend, most of the way up to Ladue. South 270 through 364 Page, and then Aldo Ladue. That's still heavy. Eastbound 30, a backup from Mauer, pretty solid up the hill to 270 right now. Eastbound 64, 94 to Research Park through the Chesterfield Parkways and east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt is bogged down. Westbound 64, a backup from the Science Center to Clayton Skinker, slow to Hanley. South 170, a couple of heavy spots between Olive and 64. Eastbound 70, still backed up. It's approaching, it's like midway between Cave Springs and Zembel to 94, slow up to the Blanchette where he had an earlier stall in the left lane. Southbound 79, south of Hackman and North Main Street, still delays there. Northbound 55, Union up to River to Pears backed up. 44 is backed up east of 55 to the Poplar because of an injury crash. And a westbound 270 still slow from 55 through 159. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hot and humid. Joe Lundberg says it'll stay that way through at least the weekend. Here's the layout. Tonight, low 79 after a 98-degree day. Tomorrow, hot and humid, high 100. What does that mean? Extreme heat warning in effect through tomorrow night. Real field temperatures over 110. Friday will be hot and humid, high 95 with a chance of a thunderstorm. Saturday and Sunday, hot and humid, thunderstorm in parts of the area. Highs both days, 96. Again, real feels 110 over the weekend. Currently, it's 81 downtown.
The news continues at 7:52. The Missouri Supreme Court rules counties cannot stack a marijuana sales tax on top of a city's. What does that mean for St. Louis County?
Early projections from St. Louis County says that they could lose about $3 million a year out of the $4.5 million they collect on the marijuana tax revenue. I spoke with Councilwoman Rita Hurd Days, who's also concerned they might have to give this money back.
If we have accepted a tax and taken it in and it was not ruled appropriate that we do that there's some kind of restitution has to be made.
Councilwoman Hurd Days is also concerned that this could just add to the challenge they've had of trying to balance the budget, which currently sits at a $55 million deficit. In St. Louis County, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Now, what would you say if somebody said it's not fair to double tax?
It's not fair to double tax. That's what we do every day.
St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman says you pay double taxes on groceries, for instance. And speaking of taxes, he usually doesn't like them.
I was in a strange situation with this thing. It's the first time in my career I've actually defended a tax.
But he says the challenge to this one appears to be over.
Well, I think it's probably the end of the line.
Ellman says the county's already collected about $2 million from the cannabis tax and has it set aside. He thinks consumers might be entitled to refunds, but did they keep their receipts?
Of course, when you do that, you'll have to admit how much marijuana you've been smoking in the last year.
Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hoping to beat the current contract expiration date, Boeing has made a final offer to their St. Louis union employees. Vice President of Air Dominance for Boeing, Dan Gillian, says it was a tough negotiation, but is happy with how the union approached it.
They were very transparent up front about those 5 issues. They were very consistent with what their members wanted, and we worked together to find solutions to those problems.
He says this offer addresses all 5 concerns the union raised and is the best in Boeing's history. The union will vote on the contract Sunday, the day the current deal expires.
Olympics officials make a decision when it comes to allowing people who identify as transgender competing in women's sports.
The U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee says it is banning transgender women from competing in women's sports. The policy update does not use the word transgender, but says it will comply with President Trump's executive order on the matter. That order threatens to cut funding for organizations allowing transgender athletes in women's sports. More than 24 states have enacted laws barring transgender women and girls from participating in certain sports competitions.
The NCAA changed its participation policy for transgender athletes to limit competition in women's sports to athletes assigned female at birth. That change came a day after Trump signed that executive order.
Well, Americans embrace a car without a rear window. This is Jeff Gilbert with the Car Chronicles. The Polestar 4 is a mid-size electric crossover, and to make the cargo area larger and more usable, they eliminated the rear window.
As a fairly new brand, we're 7 years old as a car manufacturer. We don't have the legacy, so it's okay for us to take a few risks.
Polestar's Dean Shaw says the rear view mirror uses cameras to give an unobstructed view, and there are high-definition backup cameras.
We actually didn't see many negatives at all in removing the rear window. It gave us so many other benefits. So it also helped us with load space in the back, and we still have the ability to fold down the rear seats and put larger loads in there, but we get a much higher trunk height than you would in a traditional sedan at the same time.
Polestar taking me to Montreal to drive and to learn about the Polestar 4. My test drive report will come at a future date. With the Car Chronicles, I'm Jeff Gilbert, CBS News.
Cardinal Cowboy here. After proving the doctors wrong following my accident, I got back to baseball, started kicking field goals, and finally got paid as a pro kicker and ultimately became a leader in the marketing world. That's why I trust Renner Garage Door, exceeding expectations for over 65 years. They service, sell, and install top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster. Get your free quote today. Check them out at RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler for 213 Complex, which is available at supplement superstores. Look, 213 Complex is the most effective and powerful all-natural weight loss supplement ever developed, and here's why. It optimizes thyroid function, and it boosts your metabolism 24 hours a day, while you're sleeping too. So you're burning more stored body fat. Also getting that appetite and craving control that I love. You get all-day focused energy with no jitters, so all you need to do is get out to supplement superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off 213 Complex. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 13th. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus, offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits towards a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chevy.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
You've heard of Old Town Donuts, but did you know they were voted the best donut shop in America? That's right, and they've got 2 locations right here in Florissant and Cottleville. Stop by Old Town Donuts today and see why they're the best donuts in the country.
Soccer fans, St. Louis City SC hosts English Premier League giants, the Aston Villa Football Club, Wednesday, July 30th, 7:30 p.m. at Energizer Park. Reserve your seat for this historic match now at stlcitysc.com/tickets. St. Louis City versus Aston Villa, presented by Purina.
Let's check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
LW, we have a new crash. EMS responding for it on southbound 55 just before McNutt. A lane blocked, and there's a jam back through the Joachim Creek on southbound 55 right now. Northbound 55, the right lanes are bogged down. Butler Hill to 270, all lanes from Bayless up through about Holly Hills. North 270, that crash still at the end of the ramp from 55 on the North 270, so the ramp's a little congested. Still slow to test on Ferry, and again from 44 all the way up to Ladue. South 270, Page to Ladue, that's still busy. Eastbound 64, approaching 94 through Research Park around Clarkson and east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. South 170 bogs down at Delmar. Westbound 64 from the Science Center to Hanley slow. Eastbound 44 downtown backs up from east of Jefferson up to the Poplar because of an injury crash there. And westbound 270 is backed up from 55 to 157. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A lot of Americans will be sweating it out under a scorching heat dome again today. CBS meteorologist Rob Marciano says the dangers are not to be underestimated.
Heat is the number one weather-related killer. When you get 111 for heat index, 110 in St. Louis, that is dangerous stuff. That's today. And then tomorrow, as we go into the Northeast, we're going to see temperatures ramp up. It'll be pretty comfortable today in the Northeast, but as we go through tomorrow and Friday, 103 in D.C., 99 degrees in New York, and 99 in Norfolk, as well, 103 in Cincinnati.
The president's trumpeting a new tariff agreement with the nation's 5th largest trading partner. CBS's Tony DeCoco.
President Trump has announced a sweeping new trade deal with Japan. It calls for a 15% tariff on Japanese exports to the U.S. That's a big increase on the import taxes that were collected earlier this year.
As part of the deal, Japan will also invest $550 billion in the U.S. Prosecutors in New York say a Long Island man's been indicted after they uncovered his plan to set off homemade bombs. CBS New York's Elijah Westbrook.
The charging documents reveal that the suspect stored these explosives on the rooftops of Manhattan apartment buildings in Soho. And it was there where Investigators found 4 shotgun shells, which he intended to combine with the IEDs, and 30 grams of explosive powder. Mind you, that's 600 times the legal limit for consumer fireworks. Authorities say Gann has 30 prior arrests, including 28 convictions.
There's a court hearing today for Brian Koberger, the man who pleaded guilty to stabbing 4 University of Idaho students to death. The agreement spares him the death penalty. Correspondent Jonathan Vigliotti is in Boise.
During the hearing later today, Koberger has the right to speak, but he is not required to. His legal team is also under no obligation to offer an explanation for his actions. Some clarity may come as documents in the case are slowly released after the judge in the case overturned a gag order that kept hundreds of court documents previously sealed.
Ozzy Osbourne fans are in mourning a day after he died at the age of 76.
On the Hollywood Walk of Fame, fans are leaving flowers and handwritten letters by Osbourne's star.
I didn't have a dad, so rock and roll was, my mom loved rock and roll, put me onto that, and he was like the dad I never had.
He really was the Prince of Darkness, and not an icon, an institution.
Ozzy Osbourne is gone, but his fans will never forget him.
If there's any man that gives me the will to keep on keeping on, it is Ozzy Osbourne, hands down.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Dow futures up 231. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit progressive.com today.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 81 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Wednesday, July 23rd. I'm Megan Lynch. The Missouri Supreme Court rules counties cannot stack a marijuana sales tax on top of a city's. What's that mean for St. Louis County?
Early projections from St. Louis County says that they could lose about $3 million a year out of the $4.5 million they collect on the marijuana tax revenue. I spoke with Councilwoman Rita Hurd Days, who's also concerned they might have to give this money back.
If we have accepted a tax and taken it in and it was not ruled appropriate that we do that there's some kind of restitution has to be made.
Councilwoman Hurd Days is also concerned that this could just add to the challenge they've had of trying to balance the budget, which currently sits at a $55 million deficit. In St. Louis County, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
I'm Michael Calhoun. St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman says they've collected about $2 million off the tax, but they've kept that set aside. He does expect it'll be returned to customers, but how to do that is another question.
I don't know how many people, and I don't know what kind of proof they have to show that they've paid it.
And Ellman, a longtime Republican, tells KMOX that, yes, he found himself in the unusual situation of defending a tax.
Yeah, it's not, I'm generally... It's the only tax I've ever voted for, I believe.
But he still takes issue with the decision, saying that both cities and counties can double charge sales tax on groceries, for example.
The trial for former St. Louis Oversight Board member Janice Mensah begins today. Mensah had entered the downtown jail in August 2023 and sat in the waiting room hoping to gain access inside as a member of the Detention Facility Oversight Board. This was after a hostage situation and a detainee death. Instead, Mensah was arrested and charged with trespassing and resisting arrest.
It is about why I was at the jail in the first place, why I was on the board in the first place, which is to advocate for people inside the jail. And that's people who are detained there, staff there, everyone.
Mensah is hopeful the jail's former commissioner, Jennifer Clemens Abdullah, will testify. The two frequently butted heads with the Oversight Board. Clemens Abdullah instructed staff to call the police on Mensah. A special tribute to fallen soldiers of Vietnam will be on display at Jefferson Barracks starting tomorrow. Stuart McMillan has a preview.
The Wall That Heals, a replica of the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C., will be set up here at Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery. It has more than 58,000 names engraved with backlighting, so the names can be read day or night. Volunteers will assemble the wall today, and the opening ceremony is tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And after that, it'll be open every hour of the day until 2 p.m. Sunday.
Each night at sunset, we'll be playing taps at the wall.
Quinn Hinman is the Historic and Sites Manager for St. Louis County Parks.
Friday night is actually a candlelight PTSD memorial ceremony. So that's at sunset around 8:30. it should be pretty special.
Hinman says friends and family are welcome to leave behind mementos of those who they're honoring. More than 450 St. Louisans are named on that wall.
Boeing has offered what it's calling a final contract to their St. Louis manufacturers in hopes of avoiding a strike. Boeing's offer touches on all the asks of the local International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers Union. Boeing VP of Air Dominance, Dan Gillian.
General wage increases, starting wage, progression through the wage scale, personal time off, sick leave, the work-life balance issue, and then retirement. And with the offer we've made today, we believe we've satisfied all 5 of those criteria.
The contract includes raises of 20% across the board and up to 40% with all pay enhancements. The union has scheduled a vote on the contract for Sunday evening, just before the current contract expires. Metro East Congressman Mike Bost heard from constituents in a telephone town hall. Though some said they'd rather have faced him in a more traditional in-person meeting, Bost responded to a caller question about cuts to SNAP food assistance.
When it comes to SNAP, we did not cut SNAP. What we did was we said that if you are a recipient of SNAP, you are between the age of 18 and 65. You are not mentally or physically disabled. You do not have a child under 12, or you're not pregnant. Then you are required to work.
In sports, the Colorado Rockies beat the St. Louis Cardinals 8-4 last night. Both teams face up again for day baseball. First pitch 2:10 this afternoon. You can hear it here on 104.1 FM KMOX. You'll hear more about the traffic and the weather coming up in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
Man, the heat has been killer for our comfort in the last week or so. We got swamped, and I'm not going to tell you to call me when we can't take care of you in a reasonable amount of time. But I've been hearing this, and it's interesting to where people want to get prices for new equipment. A word of advice on what you replace it with if you do not call me. Keep this in mind. Don't jump the shark and say, well, the more I spend, the more my bills go down. You and only you know what you spend a month on your utilities for cooling and heating. If you were told you need a new air conditioner or you know it's just not working for you, call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The only number, Missouri and Illinois, is 314-293-2600. God bless.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM, Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's figure out where things are tied up on the roads. Roger Brandt is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have slow going, Megan, on northbound 270. It's pretty much as you approach Gravois up through 44 Marshall, really just sort of pockets all the way to Ladue. South 270 Page to Ladue, that's still busy. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, you've got slow traffic sort of shifted to the east now, approaching Earth City into the Rock Road. North 270, the right lanes north of Dorset up to 70 are kind of heavy as well. Southbound 79 still have that backup south of Hackman down to North Main Street. It is still a jam, unfortunately. 55 near Herculaneum, right before McKnight, we had a crash reported. There's just a little slow going southbound and northbound. It looks like maybe the crash has been cleared out of the traffic lanes. North 55 after that, still a little slow. North of Bayless to River to Pear. Eastbound 44 from Lafayette up to the Poplar. There's still a backup from a a recent crash we had there. And westbound 270 still has slow traffic about midway between 55 and 159 through 157, and then again from 203 past Route 3. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Coming up on Total Information AM, we're going to ask if there anything that the state of Illinois can do to stop State Farm from raising your homeowner insurance rates. First, though, let's get a check of the forecast. Here's Joe Lundberg.
We still have an extreme heat warning through 7 p.m. tomorrow with AccuWeather real fuel temperatures headed past 110 the next couple of afternoons. Sunshine and some clouds, very hot and oppressively humid this afternoon, the high 98. Mainly clear, uncomfortably warm and sticky tonight, though 79. Tomorrow, sunny to partly cloudy, very hot and steamy, the high near 100. Friday, partly sunny, hot and humid with a chance of a thunderstorm, especially in the afternoon, high 95. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we do have sunny skies, 83 degrees, both in Florissant and St. Peter's, 81 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM here on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Next month, State Farm customers in Illinois will be hit with a 27% rate hike on homeowners policies. The insurance company says it's driven by catastrophic losses related to extreme weather. Some state officials, including the governor, are calling for legislative reforms to stop insurance rate hikes. I reached out to Abe Scar, state director of the Illinois Public Interest Research Group. I asked him if State Farm is justified in its rate hike.
We don't have a way of knowing because Illinois regulators don't have the authority to closely review. And that's what we think is one of the biggest problems, is that Illinois is relatively unique in that it does not have regulatory authority to review homeowners insurance and car insurance rate hikes. And we think that needs to change. There certainly is, I think, reason to believe that State Farm does need to raise rates to some extent. But the big question is a $500 million plus rate hike justified? And there, I think there are big questions. And I think there's lots of reason to think that it's not justified. But again, the devil's in the details. And unless we have experts with the authority to really comb through the proposal and review it, there's really just not a way of knowing.
Abe, I was really surprised that there wasn't a mechanism to review this, because I'm thinking of the ways that we oversee, for example, utility rate hikes. And, those typically have some review and approval process.
I do most of my work, in fact, on utilities, and I'm regularly involved in utility rate hikes. For example, in Southern Illinois right now, Ameren Gas has filed I think like $130 million rate hike, and that goes through a very intensive 11-month review process. There's lots of different parties involved. There's a 5-person commission at the end of the day that makes a decision on it, and there's really intense scrutiny. This rate hike, again, is $500 million plus. It's impacting 1.5 million policyholders in Illinois, and it goes through without any review. And, there are differences. Utilities are state-granted monopolies. There is some level of competition in the insurance marketplace, but it is still effectively mandated for auto insurance. The state does mandate that you purchase auto insurance if you're driving a car. And for homeowners, there's no government mandate, but effectively mortgage lenders require it. And so you are effectively required to purchase this product. And we believe for that reason, the state has a role of regulating it and ensuring that consumers are not ripped off. One of the key things that Illinois lacks is a regulatory standard. Almost every state has a standard that says rates shall not be excessive, inadequate, or unduly discriminatory. Illinois does not have that for property and casualty insurance. So right now in Illinois, it is perfectly legal to charge excessive rates for homeowners insurance. And again, we think that needs to change.
Is there any way for homeowners to appeal or fight this current hike under any kind of state law, or is it more just a matter of a pocketbook decision where you might choose to go to another insurance carrier?
You could try to work with an agent and see if you can get a change to your insurance rates, and maybe there's something you can do with your property to lower risk. But really, at the end of the day, what you have the option to do is to shop around. And there, is value to that, and people should consider doing that. But I don't think it's an appropriate response that every time there's a big insurance rate hike to expect everybody to shop around and change their rates constantly. It's just not something that people want to be spending their time doing, nor should they have to. They should have some basic consumer protections from the state. It's one of the biggest in Illinois history, but it's not a complete outlier. Home insurance rates in Illinois have increased by 50% over the last 3 years. That's more than any other state in the country but one. So you can shop around, but you may also see rising rates with other insurers.
Now, I know that we've got two big insurance carriers in the state of Illinois, State Farm, and I believe it's Allstate is the other one. Talk about the politics of this, because we've got a number of state officials, including Governor Pritzker, saying, we need to get this under control. But at the same time, I'm guessing we have a pretty strong insurance lobby in the state of Illinois.
They are two giants of the industry here in Illinois and nationally. They're the top two property and casualty insurance companies. So they do have significant influence in Springfield. And one of the reasons why we don't have any type of basic regulatory oversight of rate increases is because they've had significant sway in Springfield for many years. I think that continues to be the case, and I don't think it will be easy to pass reform over their objections, but I do think it's possible. And I think Governor Pritzker coming out and calling for action is really significant. I would note that we had a similar lack of regulation in the health insurance marketplace in Illinois until very recently. In 2023 and 2024, through two pieces of legislation, the Illinois General Assembly did create a rate review process for health insurance regulation. It did so on a bipartisan basis, and it did so largely because Governor Pritzker really championed it and pressed the General Assembly to act. So we have some recent history showing this is possible, and we're very thankful for Governor Pritzker's advocacy on this. It's still going to be a fight in Springfield, but we're looking forward to seeing what we can do this fall.
Is there a risk that we could make it impossible for insurance companies to do business in the state? Because that's one of the things that insurance companies will say. And I believe in other states, insurance carriers have pulled out due to regulation.
What we're talking about and what the Department of Insurance has proposed and what our organization has supported is not onerous. It's basic, the basic ability for the Department of Insurance to review rate increase proposals and to modify or reject them if they find them to be excessive. And they can't just do that willy-nilly. They need a basis in fact and make a case for why a rate increase would be excessive. This is what happens in almost every other state, and insurers are still operating in almost every other state. What we've seen in a couple specific states is, a real challenge of extreme weather. I think it's more due to insurance industry practices than any type of overregulation that's causing insurers to flee these states. A big concern I have, and that I think is going to be a problem here in Illinois, not just in places like Florida and California, is that the insurance industry increasingly is trying to pick and choose its customers and insure less so that they can reduce risk from their books. They can take off properties that they don't want to insure and leave them to public insurers of last resort. And that's not how insurance should work. We should pool all of our risks and share the risks. And we shouldn't allow the industry to decide, that they're just not going to operate in a state because they think it's too risky or pull out of certain parts. I think we need to make sure that we're still getting a valuable product. What we're getting now is we're getting less and paying more. And not only are they raising rates here, State Farm in Illinois, but they're raising deductibles, they're adding surcharges for hail. And so this is part of a trend of insurers charging more and giving less. And so I think that's something we need to address through state policy.
That is Abe Scar, State Director of the Illinois Public Interest Research Group. Coming up, the Missouri Supreme Court says counties cannot layer taxes on recreational marijuana. Michael Calhoun will ask what happens next. Let's see what's happening on the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, mostly just slow going, Megan, but there's still a bunch out there, unfortunately. This traffic report service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm, northbound 270, both sides of Gravois are slow, and then 44 all the way up to Ladou's busy. North 270 again, north of Dorset up to 70s heavy. South 270 from Page down to Ladue, that's slow. Eastbound Highway 70 from Earth City into 270 still busy. If you're on eastbound 64, east of Lindbergh through to about Big Bend is still slow. Westbound 64, Clayton's Kinker to Hanley's bogged down. South 170 delays at the Parkway. Northbound to 55, a little busy. Bayless up to River to Pear. Southbound 55, seeing that jam again through McNutt where we had an injury crash downtown. Eastbound 44, Lafayette to the Poplar is still congested from a recent crash. And on the Illinois side, westbound 270 from basically 55 through 157, and some of that is still stop and go. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. And checking that forecast for today, we're going to have more sun than clouds. It's going to be hot and humid. We are under an extreme heat warning. Expect a high of 98, but it could feel like it's as hot as 110. Right now, we have sunny skies, 81 degrees downtown at the Arch.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
It's Tom Ackerman, Summer Living, Outdoor Living, Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Fence and deck in their name. Beautiful fences, great materials, great staff, good people. The showroom in Chesterfield Valley will show you that variety of fence or deck that you want to put in, but they have more than that. Patios, pergolas, sunrooms, retaining walls, and more from Chesterfield Fence and Deck. How about an outdoor kitchen? How about an outdoor fireplace? Maybe a great place to just kick back and unwind during the summer and have a cup of coffee and a newspaper read, which is what I do often on the weekends. Chesterfield Fence and Deck can do that for you. ChesterfieldFence.com. When you mention me, Tom Ackerman, you'll get 48 months interest-free financing from your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
If something happens to you, what happens to your family? Will they struggle financially? Will they be able to afford the home you built together? With Ethos, you can get life insurance coverage in minutes. Get up to $2 million in coverage for as little as $2 a day. All online with no medical exam. Just answer a few health questions. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life. Rates may vary. Billed monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and relevant life and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. Classes start August 13th. Apply now and save with no application fee. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Viking, dedicated to creating travel experiences for the thinking person, with programs designed for cultural enrichment on board and on shore. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com. Viking.com.
You're back with Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Missouri counties can no longer stack their own marijuana tax on top of one already enforced by a municipality. The 6-1 decision from the Missouri Supreme Court is based on language in the constitutional amendment that legalized recreational pot. St. Louis County brings in $4.5 million annually from the tax. It's projected to lose around $3 million, and St. Charles County stands to miss out on about $1.5 million a year from the cannabis tax. KMOX's Michael Calhoun spoke with St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman shortly after the ruling yesterday.
There's a disagreement about how to interpret the language, and normally you could have gone to court, and if we had lost in court, like we did today, we'd be up in Jefferson City next year trying to change the law. And maybe we would, maybe we wouldn't. But the fact of the matter is, when you put it in the Constitution and all of a sudden some judge tells you, no, it doesn't mean what you say, you pretty much have to live with it. And on some things, that's probably proper, but to take this whole marijuana industry and put it in the Missouri Constitution, I think was just crazy.
Now, what would you say if somebody said it's not fair to double tax? One jurisdiction, gets to put it on, but it's not fair to me as a consumer to layer it.
It's not fair to double tax. That's what we do every day. I mean, when you go to the store, you pay a sales tax to the city, the municipality that the store is located in. You also pay a county sales tax, and on top of that, you pay a state sales tax. So that's the normal. This is the abnormal. What the court has ruled.
Do you know how much St. Charles County stands to lose out? What the estimate?
Oh, I think it was about $1.4 million or something like that.
Does that impact anything? Do you dip into reserves or cut services or anything you would hope to add that you don't get to do now?
Actually, I mean, I was hoping if everybody, I mean, the people who really need a tax break are the property taxpayers. I was hoping if we could establish this as a permanent source of income, we could reduce the property tax, and, to the extent that we're profiting from this tax. But we're going to have to find another way, I guess, to give the property owners some tax relief.
Has the county already been collecting sales tax on cannabis sales? Is there already a pool of money that's been collected? Is that had to be held in escrow?
And that's what I was looking. That's the second thing I looked at in the opinion, whether they say exactly how we're to do refunds on that. I know there's a procedure in the statute to do tax refunds, but people would have to actually apply. Which I don't know how many people, and I don't know what kind of proof they have to show that they've paid it. But we'll have that's the next issue our lawyers will look at, what to do with. I think we have $2 million or something that we've collected.
But it seems like that has to be returned to the customers. So I guess people should find their receipts.
I think there's a stat. Yeah, it would have to be returned. The question is how.
That's KMOX's Michael Calhoun and St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman. Coming up, parents feeling the pinch due to back-to-school prices. We'll get more from KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz. It's now 8:28. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hi, it's Margaret from Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano. I've worked with Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano for more than 30 years. Their guidance and assistance with my estate planning and legal documents gives me the peace of mind that I have the retirement I've worked for and always dreamed of. And I'm playing it fully with my grandchildren, volunteering, and traveling worldwide. I play confidently knowing my estate is secured in any event. You can get your estate secured with Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano too. Visit their website, yourestatemasters.com, and download their free webinar on how to get started. Then make a free appointment. Your estate matters because you matter. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestatemasters.com. The choice of an attorney is an important decision and should not be made solely on advertising.
Ready to make lake life a reality? With Anywhere Lombardo at Lake of the Ozarks, you can build a home designed just for you. Whether it's a cozy retreat or a luxurious lakeside escape, our custom designs bring your vision to life, set against stunning lake views and peaceful surroundings. The perfect balance of relaxation and adventure. With a trusted builder backed by long-standing vendor relationships, you'll enjoy cost savings and superior quality from start to finish. Start your dream home today with Anywhere Lombardo. Visit lombardohomes.com to learn more.
8:30, let's get the latest on the roads from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
I'm Megan, we're still slow on northbound 270. This traffic reports a service of Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical. North 270, primarily north of 44 all the way up to Ladue. South 270, Page to Ladue, that's still bogged down as well. Eastbound 70, a little busy. 270 into the Rock Road. They were doing some road work on the shoulder there. South 170 backs up at Brentwood. Eastbound 64 east of Lindbergh into Big Bend, slow. Westbound 64 Clayton Skinker to Hanley's heavy. 55 north of Bayless up to River to Pears, still off the pace. Downtown, we still have heavy traffic in pockets on 44 eastbound from 55 up to the Poplar because of that recent crash we had there. And if you're traveling on westbound 270 in Madison County, coming off the southbound 55 ramp onto westbound 270, it's slow to a point about midway between 159 and 157, and then once again a little slow at 270. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We are still under an extreme heat warning. It's in effect until 7 tomorrow night. We could see temperatures feeling like it's 110 the next 2 afternoons. Sunny, hot, and humid this afternoon as well. Currently, we have sunny skies, 81 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
The Martins came over, we were having spaghetti when we suddenly noticed and we started getting sweaty. So we grabbed the keys and we ate it in the van. That's what my friend said, call Jerry Kelly, man, JerryKelly.com. Give him a call, even though it's late, JerryKelly.com.
8:31 now. Time to talk with KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz, professor in the Chaffetz School of Business at St. Louis University. We're going to focus on back-to-school shopping because many families are feeling the pinch this year.
Civic Science is a national polling company, regularly surveys Americans about their buying habits. One of the typical summer surveys looks at back-to-school shopping. Believe it or not, only about half the population thinks about school shopping with 6 or 8 weeks to go. For the roughly 50% who are thinking about it right now, 30% typically shop for the fall, and that's just what they normally do this time of the year. The remaining 20% are shopping now because they're worried. Some are worried about the supply shortages. Some are worried about price rises. Those folks who are worrying may be onto something. Around 70% of the people out shopping right now are reporting higher prices than last year. How do they handle it? Well, it's almost evenly split between those who buy less because the prices are too high and those who pay more and grumble about it. As you might guess, both kinds of customers are unhappy with the changes. By the way, if you're thinking about back-to-school shopping, the most popular back-to-school items in shopping carts this summer are clothes and shoes, 58% of people doing that, books and notebooks, about 50% are buying those, art and writing supplies, 45%, backpacks, about 44%. By the way, the bigger ticket items like calculators and computers, about 30% of people are buying those.
So who's working to get shoppers in the door?
Target's making a pitch to consumers to come by their stores to shop for fall 2025 with a message that has got to resonate: save money. These efforts are symbolized by their bringing back a top-selling $5 backpack that was a big hit last year. They've also kept a list of 20 must-haves for under $20, which are school supplies that include things like glue sticks, pencils, scissors, a ruler, pens, crayons, and all sorts of paper to write, draw, and post on. If you've got elementary-age children, this 20 items for under $20 offer is sure to take care of a lot of shopping issues. But they're also thinking about older kids, with another set of deals for equipping college students returning to their dorms. They include discounts on sheets, kitchenwares, and storage options. And on top of that, Target's added another tier of savings for members of the Target Circle Club, which is free to join, and yet an even higher level of savings for members of the paid Target Circle 360 Club. Target's certainly targeting parents with these deals and may hit the spot for a lot of our listeners.
Thanks, Jerry. That's KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz with the SLU Chaffetz School of Business. We've got your money report from Bloomberg next.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. Celebrate National Carpet Cleaning Month with Zero Res and purchase 3 rooms of carpet cleaned. Get 1 free room plus $50 off your air duct services. You can book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings. So they were just out at my house about a month ago, and they've been out half a dozen times over the years. But I'm always impressed. They are punctual. They are professional. They are compassionate. They are courteous. They work their tails off, and they just flat out get your carpets, your upholstery, your air ducts as clean as the day they brought them in. It's St. Louis. It's the dog days of summer. Those carpets are going to be getting gamey. Maybe you dropped some toasted ravioli in there, some barbecue, whatever it is as you put into them, we can get that back out. 314-474-2020 or ZeroResSTL.com. Spell it forward, spell it backwards. It's always the same, Zero Res.
Lenny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use, now what?
I had a friend that went to My Computer Career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
We know you're uncertain about psychics. Is this fortune teller you found on a forum legit?
Your one true love is...
me! That's why California Psychics reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Get insights on the go. Download the California Psychics app today.
8:36. Let's get your money report now. Sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. More trade deals are falling into place. President Trump announcing overnight that an agreement has been reached with Japan. The president said it's a good deal for everybody. The U.S. will impose a 15% tariff on imports from Japan, including automobiles. The deal also creates a $550 billion fund for making investments in the U.S. Earlier yesterday, the president announced trade agreements with the Philippines and Indonesia, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the current trade truce with China will likely be extended. Starbucks is continuing its efforts to lure customers in the States. Now it's introducing study rooms in China to bring in more people. Unlike the U.S., people won't need to buy anything to take part in the study areas. This is Starbucks' latest initiative in China this year as it tries to revive sales growth due to stiff competition from cheaper rivals like Luckin Coffee. And yesterday's stocks closed mixed. The Dow rose 179 points. The S&P 500 added just 4 points, but it was enough for a new high, and the Nasdaq slipped 81 points. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Tom Ackerman here. It's time to crack open an ice-cold Budweiser on a hot day like today. Budweiser also is proud to continue a 15-year partnership with Folds of Honor. And it's always good to remember that Folds of Honor is an organization rooted in supporting military families in need. Service never stops, and neither will we. This year, proceeds from every 12-pack of Budweiser and Bud Zero sold go directly to Folds of Honor. By the way, got myself a 12-pack of Bud Zero recently. I thought, let's give Bud Zero a little try. See how that tastes. Tastes great. And it's also nice. I can pop a couple of Bud Zeros and hop in the car and go run some errands. Bud Zero, no alcohol. Budweiser is a great beer to kick back and enjoy the ball game. Budweiser is the king of beers, the delicious tradition. Budweiser, this Bud's for you.
Home title theft. It's on the rise, and it's devastating if it happens to you. Listen to the alarming words of an actual home title thief.
I don't need to know your date of birth and social security number. All I have to do is go to public records, create a document, and file that document. And then I can borrow against the house or sell the house. You may have no clue until you find out that your house has been sold or till several loans or several banks are foreclosing on you.
For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier of protection around your home's title with 24/7 monitoring. The instant they detect any tampering, you'll get an alert. And that's bad news for home title thieves. So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim with your free title scan and complete title report. $100 value free with sign up. Just go to HomeTitleLock.com and sign up in minutes. That's HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Sunny skies, 82 degrees at 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. U.S. President Donald Trump has announced a flurry of trade deals that will relieve some pressure on companies and consumers from sharply higher tariffs on imports from Japan and a handful of other Asian countries. The House leaving Washington early as Republicans clash over the Jeffrey Epstein files. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he wants to give the White House space to release the Epstein information on its own. If federal prosecutors talk to Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell, will we ever know what was said? I'll ask KMOX legal analyst Brad Young next. First, though, we need to update you on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, still some slow traffic out there, Megan. This traffic report's a service of the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company, but it's getting better. North 270, north of Doherty Ferry, up to Ladue, still slow. South 270, Page to Ladue, that's still busy. Eastbound 64, still bogged down. East of Lindbergh, a brief backup at the Interbelt. Once you get past Big Bend, you're back on track. Westbound 64, west of Hampton to Hanley, still busy. South 170, still bogs down to the Parkway. Northbound 55, approaching Weber to River to Pear, a little slowdown. 44, you saw those stop-and-go pockets that crash eastbound 44 to Poplar, still causing a backup between Jefferson and Lafayette, trying to get into downtown there. And then westbound 270, approaching 159, and from 157 through 270, that's still slow as well. Are you considering life insurance? Penn Mutual's accelerated client experience makes applying for life insurance fast and easy. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thanks for listening to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch, and it's time to talk with KMOX legal analyst Brad Young. He visits with us every week at this time. And Brad, we're going to look at the pressure that's ramping up for release of files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Megan.
So federal prosecutors want to talk with Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you think she can be compelled to talk to those federal prosecutors?
She can, and let me go through that process with you, Megan. Everyone knows Fifth Amendment, you cannot be forced to incriminate yourself. And that certainly applies, even though right now Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison. That still applies. You cannot force someone to testify against themselves. But there's a procedure where you can bypass that. And what would have to happen is that Congress would have to give her immunity from prosecution, which would, in essence, mean that anything she says, or rather nothing that she would say, could be used against her in a court of law. So with that grant of immunity, she can then be forced to testify. And in fact, if a person refuses to testify after getting that grant of immunity, they can be prosecuted and even imprisoned longer for refusing to comply with an order from Congress.
So if she does talk, would the public ever know what was said?
That's a different question. Presumably, yes, but also the issue becomes, what can she testify to? Now, if a person gets a grant of immunity and they simply say, I don't remember, they're not refusing to testify. They're stating they don't remember. And that is always a difficult question, whether it's in this situation or in the courtroom, because how do you prove what someone remembers and what they don't remember? And so that becomes an issue. But the greater issue, I think, is would her testimony be made public? And that's something that Congress, or the committee that's investigating this, they would have to make that determination at the time that the grant of immunity is extended, if at all.
Another story involving a girlfriend that just won't go away, Brad, is that CEO and HR head caught on a Coldplay concert kiss cam. A lot of people are asking if any of us can ever really expect privacy in public anymore.
Well, this is something that actually that England is ahead of us on. Not that that's a competition, but right now in London, for example, you cannot walk on any public street in London without being on a camera. Now, we're not quite to that point in the United States now, but it's quickly becoming like that, as we saw on the kiss cam. So right now, there is a question about privacy, about what we can do in public, and it even gets ratcheted to the next level, Megan. For example, it was just announced yesterday that Amazon is buying a company called Bee, that's B-E-E, just like the insect, but it has a wristband that literally records. It's designed to do this. It records everything you say during the course of the day, everything that anyone around you says during the course of a day, and then transcribes it for you at the end of the day. That's even a greater, I think, imposition on our privacy, because now cameras view our images, and you've got electronic wear that records every word that we say, and the implications of that are immeasurable.
Pretty soon they're just going to know what we think, Brad.
I certainly hope not.
So let's get to our last story. And this is a serious one. The U.S. Labor Department rewriting some workplace regulations. Some of the ideas on the table would be paying home health workers below the minimum wage, removing some regulations requiring, for example, adequate lighting at construction sites. What do you see as some of the potential legal challenges and pitfalls of this?
Well, anytime we discuss deregulation, Megan, it's a two-edged sword. For example, most of my job involves employment law, and employers in this country are truly shackled with burdensome regulations that oftentimes have no practical purpose. On the other hand, we have what's called the law of unintended consequences. And if we eliminate regulations, that could certainly lead to unforeseeable safety issues. It could lead to more accidents, and it may actually lead to situations that would require future additional regulations. Now, one thing is that when many of these regulations were instituted, like health and safety regulations, those were done before workers' comp laws became as expansive as they are now. And so that's going to help offset some of that. But certainly, when you deregulate health and safety rules, the unintended consequences means that some people could be in more the possibility of having more accidents in the workplace.
That is KMOX legal analyst Brad Young of Harris, Dow, Fisher & Young. Thank you so much, Brad.
My pleasure.
And again, we talk to Brad every week at this time. Coming up on Total Information AM, should the St. Louis School District close more than half of city schools? I'll talk with School Board President Dr. Karen Collins-Adams next.
Tomorrow, some of us will wake up and it will be our last day on this earth. It will be unexpected and without warning. Each year, 250,000 people will die from medical malpractice, the third leading cause of death in America. 43,000 will die in a car or truck crash. 6,000 will die working on the job. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, and we represent many of these families. It's awful. Unfortunately, many times some of these family members are not speaking and never get to say, I'm sorry or goodbye. If you're at odds with a loved one, listen closely. Pick up the phone. Call them. Say you're sorry. I promise a huge burden will be lifted from your heart and your soul will be renewed. Even if you're not wrong in your own mind, it doesn't matter. Death is bad enough. Death without closure and love will follow you the rest of your days. Trust me on this. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence, Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Experience the magic of the Fabulous Foxes 2025-2026 Broadway season, which includes the return of St. Louis favorite, The Phantom of the Opera, and the spellbinding spectacular Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And right now, KMOX has your chance to win a pair of season tickets for the 2025-2026 season. Prize package includes a pair of tickets for all 8 shows in the subscription package. Register now online at KMOX.com/contests for your chance to win.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius or 2 half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Our next guests are involved in new therapies to help people living with neurofibromatosis, a painful and debilitating condition, have a better quality of life. Dr. Angela Herby is Associate Professor of Medicine at Washington University and Director of the Adult Neurofibromatosis Clinical Program, and Pastor Austin, a patient living with the condition.
NF1PN is a genetic disorder. It can cause, it has caused plexiform neurofibromas, which is a nerve tumor that grows around nerves, and it just causes a lot of pain and issues. They can't really be removed totally without causing severe issues like paralysis. The one I have in my lower left flank, particularly, I've had surgery on it to debulk or remove part of it twice. The first surgery they removed, it was the size of a foam football. And then later that same year, they removed a portion of it that was the size of a golf ball. And that was around the age that, prime age that you're trying to learn how to swim, ride a bike, do all that, learn all those fun activities. And I was pretty much just bedridden during those years.
Now, I note that you went on to have a career in law enforcement for a while until your condition caused you to have to shift.
Yeah, I tried out my best to do a career in law enforcement. I started off in corrections. Then I became a deputy sheriff where I was a bailiff. And then I moved on where I was a public safety officer, and loved my work, loved serving my community, helping other people. The tumor, the pain, and the mobility issue just got too much for me to where I could not do the career anymore. So I had to resign from that. I did a little bit of retail work for a little while, and then I went to what I was my real calling in life that I should have probably done when I was in the first place, which is where I became a pastor.
How much do you use what you deal with to help other people in your role as a pastor now?
I use it quite a bit because of the experiences I've been through in my entire life with my NF1PN. It's just kind of a miracle that I'm actually still around, still here. Throughout my entire life, I've had a great support network, whether it be friends, family, amazing doctors, especially like Dr. Herby, that, I've always been an advocate for myself, but if it wasn't for people to support me and help me through things and show me ways that there are ways to get through things and benefit from my disorder.
Dr. Herby, I'm curious, how many people are like Austin living with this type of neurofibromatosis?
Yeah, so NF1 is a genetic condition. So it's actually the most common inherited tumor predisposition syndrome. So it affects, 1 in 2,500 people. And so that's about 120,000 people in the U.S. And then half of those patients will develop plexiform neurofibromas. And again, these are big tumors that can happen anywhere in the body. And they can cause a significant amount of pain. They can also be really disfiguring depending on where they are. And then again, depending on the location, sometimes they can even cause organ damage.
How do patients describe the pain that they experience with this being along the nervous system?
So, every patient is different. And pain, is experienced differently by patients as well. But, I would say one of the most common things that patients describe are just severe pain that is unrelenting. Sometimes, it's shooting and electric pain because these are tumors that are affecting nerves.
In your work with this, what developments have you seen over the years and most recently?
Yeah, so historically, treatment-wise, we were really limited to surgeries. And like Austin's case kind of shows, most of the time you can't remove the entire tumor. And even when you can remove part of it, more than half of the time, the tumors grow back. In 2020, there was one medication that was FDA approved for children with NF1 plexiform neurofibromas. And then excitingly, in February of this year, we finally had the first FDA approved medication for both adults and children with NF1 plexiform neurofibromas. And that's a medication called Gomekli or mirdametinib. The medication's been shown to shrink these tumors significantly and also reduce the pain that patients have. Every medication comes with side effects. The most common side effects with this medication are GI side effects like nausea, diarrhea, and then an acne-like rash.
How does this medication work in the body?
NF1, the NF1 gene codes for a protein that's basically like a stop sign within cells. It tells the cells to stop growing. And this medication is essentially putting a stop sign back in the cells, telling them to slow down and stop growing.
How life-changing could this be for patients now?
Yeah, I think this is plexiform neurofibromas are, one of the most common tumors that patients with NF1 have, and, a really big source of morbidity for these patients. So I think finally having a medication is amazing because, we finally have something that we can offer patients to try to help them.
That is Pastor Austin and Dr. Angela Herby, director of the Adult Neurofibromatosis Clinical Program at Washington University.
It is 1 million degrees outside. What to expect from the heat wave this week, plus an 85-year-old skydiver, and we continue our midday midlife, talking divorce, marriage, and dating with kids. It all starts at 9 a.m. on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
This is Tom Ackerman for Gamma Tree Experts, a full-service tree care firm specializing in the preservation of your valuable trees. We have a lot of trees in our yard, and Tim Gamma and Tom Gamma and their outstanding staff make sure that they are well taken care of. In fact, they have now put me in the habit of taking a look at the health of our trees, plants, and shrubs. And if I have any questions, I can reach out to them at 314-725-6159, 314-725-6159, or just go to gammatree.com to learn more. Gamma Tree Experts, they will come right over and give us a full inspection, make sure that we know which trees are in trouble, which trees are doing just great. And if we end up having any storm damage, they will clean that up as well. They are Gamma Tree Experts here since 1954. Gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Soccer fans, St. Louis City SC hosts English Premier League giants, the Aston Villa Football Club, Wednesday, July 3rd.